Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
They're here.
Top 5 haunted house movies.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the program. Brought to you by Flip City Magazine. That's right. Check out Flip City Magazine today. You are on the shit list with Tom Connors, Gary Ambrosia. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you. I'm hanging in there. How are you doing?
Doing well. Hopefully you've got some goodies for us tonight. I know we're going to have some fun. That'll be awesome. Also joining us, Mr. Andy Masterson. In fact, I'm going to flip you with Tox here for now because I don't think that's going to cover you up, Tox. There you go. Okay. How you doing, Andy? I'm doing fine.
I'm absolutely fabulous.
I was going to do the whole
Las Vegas voice.
Like I was going to dub your voice for you.
All right,
well, thank you for being here.
We're doing Kung Fu style. All right.
I will get you.
I'm doing fine.
Your master taught you crappy Kung Fu. Thank you for being here. We also have, of course, Toxic Man Flu, producer extraordinaire. How you doing?
I am not extraordinary at producing.
Oh, yes, you are.
Extraordinarily.
This is also true.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Extraordinary attorney.
that was the wifey. She got about to throw something at you.
Somebody's got
I'm haunted. I'm being haunted.
That was someone's wife. That's all I know. Also joining us, we have Brahma Bull in black and white. How you doing?
Pretty good. Freezing. We managed to get a few inches of snow last night.
You guys got some of the snow we were supposed to get, huh?
Yeah. I'm not ready for that, but
no.
What are you going to do? Other than that, doing pretty good.
And in the testicle season in Denver.
It is.
Yeah.
And in the center square today, we have Scribe Light, Moonbase Puntantate. What is that?
Potentate?
Oh, Potentate. I can't. It's really cool.
Puntantate? Okay.
I don't know.
Yes. I just need to add an extra O and I'll have an R rated.
Wasn't Puntantate
really small.
the first porn film from the 1800s?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Starring Jennifer Lawrence.
Of course,
well,
they all do. She was-
Center Square. At least I wasn't Paul Lind, but
Yes.
hello.
Not quite
yeah.
as gay.
He was. What was the name of the rat in Charlotte's Web that he played? Templeton.
Templeton.
Oh, that was the first time I ever heard that voice, and I always think.
I know, wasn't that trippy for us kids of a certain generation? Because I, just like me, that was my introduction. Because my dad's like, you know who that is? That's Paul Lynde. I'm like, like whoever the fuck that's supposed to be. And then I get a little older and I start seeing like repeats of Hollywood Squares and all that stuff, and it's like Paul Lynde acting like, you know, a flamey comedian.
I know. So
like, oh
bizarre.
my god, that's Templeton.
Templeton.
The fair is a veritable smorgasbord, orgasbord.
Oh wow, you're taking me back. Okay.
After the lights go down.
Okay. It's like old home week or something.
I love
right?
that's like the best part of the movie, right? Like
I know,
Templeton
right?
gets to go out and be a rat. But anyway, also joining us, I thought he wasn't going to be here right away, but he managed to make it squeaked in just under the wire. And Brian, aka 70s rock fan, how you doing?
Yes, good evening. And I was just being imparted some important trivia about a Korean television show. So that's what the voice
Interesting.
was.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, it's good to be here. Yes, I received special permission.
Oh, Paul Lynde was also on 2 episodes of The Munsters.
Oh.
And Bewitched.
Oh, he was always on Bewitched. He was Uncle, what was his name on there? Uncle.
I forget.
He was the uncle, though. I know that.
Fuck. No.
Because he was,
The uncle nobody talked about.
no, he was on there quite often. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the name. Somebody in the chat will.
Somebody in the chat will get it. Yeah.
But yeah, House on Haunted Hill maybe come up tonight.
Arthur,
Maybe Monster House
everyone's
will.
saying.
Never know.
Arthur.
Uncle Arthur, thank you. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah, he was always causing trouble. Yes, and it's a shame he wasn't on Gilligan's Island. Although I don't know why he would show up. Of course, he'd probably like, this is a dream, an island full of men and only 2 women.
Yeah, he died early, didn't he? He died
He did.
55, I think.
Professor, teach me something.
He would have been better as Marianne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that bitch.
The professor's science experiment, and suddenly Marianne is replaced with Paul Lynde.
Yeah, the
3
professor
if you
comes out
count
like,
Mrs. Howell or whatever.
Eureka,
she's
I've
married.
discovered the transitioning.
Oh Lord, our luck though, it would be Gilligan who'd end up getting genders. Just wait, we're gonna get a Gilligan's Island gender swap. That would be horrible.
Unless it was completely self-aware and satiristic.
Melissa
that might actually
McCarthy is
work.
gonna play, not Gilligan, but the skipper.
Oh, I could see
Jillian.
Jillian.
Yeah, the skipper.
Emilia Kunis. As
Gillian
Jillian.
Kunis as Jillian.
The millionaire and her
Mila
wife.
Yeah, but Gilligan was dumb and bumbling, and they would never portray a woman as such. She'd have to be stunning and brave.
No, they're going to have to invent a character to be the idiot white male. That way they can play
You're
more on
right.
stuff.
Yeah, they'll call him Dobie.
Yeah.
The millionaire will be the idiot. They'll make him the Jeff Bezos.
They'll make him the, yeah, that's right. And the reason why they got stranded.
Right.
Yeah. They'll like shoot a flare through the bottom of the boat or something. Hear that, Hollywood? We're writing stuff better than you are right now.
Not for the courage of the female crew, the minnow would be
lost. Oh, yeah.
And the professor's useless.
MEN. Minnow.
Minnow.
And the professor's useless because they're professor of gender studies.
The
I think a coconut
minnow
radio out of a
paused.
coconut makes sense then.
That's right.
Oh, God.
I think I can do something with this. I don't know. Well, you're a professor. I study gender studies, not this shit.
At least they don't have to worry about creating bras out of coconuts. Nobody's going to wear.
Are you casting Leslie Jones as the professor there, Tom? What?
Yes.
Obviously.
I
think
spent
he'll-
7 years in college to become a professor. Not one of those years was turn and learn how to make a radio out of coconuts.
I guess that would be covered in underwater basket weaving.
Maybe. This is why the Cub Scouts are important, kids.
And the Girl Scout.
And the Girl Scout, what?
And they're going to have the Flame Scouts. Totally different group.
Oh, this reminds me. I got to add a clip. I think this is the right one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. I got to remove a clip. Hang on.
Tom's removing a clip, folks. It is not a roach clip.
Everything's going to fall out then, Tom.
I know, right? Here we go. This is it. No more Tom knows.
I love that.
The Cub Scouts are pretty good at growing bears now, though.
Or wait, here's take 2. This one I think is a
that
little better.
growing bears or grooming bears?
Because when I sing the song, it's a little off key. No more Tom knows.
Off key.
That's the
We
better
referenced
one.
that.
Plus, it's
Necronomicon.
got the little naked culture casino there. That was, if you catch it.
That was the low budget version, the Ecronomicon.
Yeah.
The Ecronomicon.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Doomcock could do the Harvey Helpers group to help young children learn about the Necronomicon and everything that happens from there.
Raise a Cthulhu.
Don't press the button, kids. Oh, go ahead. Let's see what happens.
Send yourself to an alternate dimension. Call now. All right, kids. Let's not waste any more time. I'm sure the crew will be over here from VR. If they miss out on the first few, that's their own damned fault.
Suckers.
Right? Suckers.
Sounds good.
All right. We've got the shit list here. Top 5 haunted house movies. I think we got to blame Toxic Man Flu for this list this week.
Yeah, this is all my fault.
That's
I
a
wish I'd
spooky ghost there.
I wish I'd read that title. I would have got the correct list then. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, there's a little bit of
That's
leeway
fine.
here, but like ghost stories, haunted movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to think of the best way to describe this.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So here we go, kids. Start throwing out your favorites in the chat. I seen some earlier, like as we pointed out before. We got 6 in the chat. How you doing? Haunted house movies. When did I don't know, 6. I have no idea anymore. Last
spooky.
time
It's spooky
last
how
thing I
that
knew.
changed.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look at that.
Spooky.
We got a black kitty, we got a witch, and a broom. There you go. Very Halloweeny. We got some Amityville Horror love already
That's
happened.
a different one.
The Halloweenies.
Ghost and Mr. Chicken. There's another good one. That may come up tonight. So let's get started on this. Our top 5 list, according to us, the members of the shit list panel. That's right. We've got number 5 on Brian's
Oh,
list.
I'm starting. Oh, God.
The
I'm not
Closet
prepared.
with the
Closet.
2020 movie.
Yeah. Kind of creepy little metaphysical Korean.
It's about somebody
horror
coming out of
movie.
a closet or what?
Well, it's about a girl and there's something in the closet in her bedroom, and she goes in there and it's Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise in my closet. He won't come
It's
out.
a different movie entirely.
Was he
Get
making
a woman and make her day.
Is he making fish sticks?
And this was 6's idea. I
He was
apologize.
Packing fudge in that closet. There was a whole factory packing fudge.
So we blame 6 for this, guys, just so you know.
It's a
I'm not
pretty-
blaming
I
a
mean,
woman. This is 2023. Gee
I know you're
whiz.
right. This is why I tried blaming you, but she wanted to take credit. Now I'm stuck in a fucking
I
problem. You're
can't.
not-
What?
I gotta
Okay,
give
so
her
am I
fucking
at
credit.
fault or am I mansplaining? I
I
don't know.
tried.
It's all my fault.
Anyway, you were
I mean-
saying, Brian, about the
well,
closet.
there are creepier Korean movies, but they're not really necessarily about hauntings. Like The Wailing is a lot creepier, but that one's got so many different subgenres in it that
Is that about killing whales or is it just about a wailing woman?
Nothing to do with Norwegians in the South Pole. No.
The cast
it's
in
got a-
Ghostbusters 2015.
Yeah, that's right. There's no ship big enough to take care of that one. But yeah, it's kind of
No, they need a few
poltergeist.
ships for that. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, it's kind of poltergeist, insidious. A guy and his daughter go to live and then naturally they go to live in a creepy house in the country so she can get over the death of her mother, and things start happening in the closet, and she eventually disappears into this other evil haunted world. There's a touch of possession in it, but it's mainly haunting, and it's pretty groovy. I would, as I say, there are probably scarier movies, but it's not that long since I've seen it. It's stuck in my mind. Ha Young-woo is the star, great Korean actor. So check it out. It's not a lot of gore. It's more, as I say, metaphysical, scary, creepy. And there are indeed things in the closet that need to come out.
All right. I imagine since it's Korean film, it's on Netflix.
The Closet, I think I've got a digital copy of it, so I'm not entirely
We're just
sure.
going to skip over this horribly racist thing that Tom just said.
That's right. Yes.
It was. Well, all the Korean stuff's always on Netflix. It was a joke.
Possible
but
it's on Netflix.
I was just kidding, but like, yeah.
CG
If it's
Entertainment.
on Netflix in Canada, does that make it North Korean?
Uh-huh.
It makes it
Sure.
it makes it totalitarian.
Oh,
that's
we
for
both
sure.
hit the drumstick. Yeah.
It may be. As I say, I've got a digital copy. So
All right. Well, let's keep moving here. We've got number 5. Oh, it's a mystery. This means, so kids, this is a new one for you guys. So for those who don't know, when this happens, this means this is something that's on somebody else's list, but they have it higher. So we'll talk about it then.
Oh, so I don't get to say anything. Okay.
Not yet.
Oh, you
save
do.
your thoughts.
we have to get
Just save
higher
your
to
thoughts.
talk about it.
Right. Just like, okay, there was that song, Can You Take Me Higher? You know,
Oh, that's it.
Creed, the greatest band ever. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
This is a
The
great
same thing
movie
happens
title.
to me right away, so don't feel bad, Scribe.
This is
Yeah, I didn't pick a porno movie, everybody. That's not
I
what-
know. No, that's not a porno movie. So held off on that thought. That means his movie comes up on somebody else's list, only higher. Then Toxic Man Flu, your number 5 was a cheat. You picked A Christmas Carol.
I did. That is a ghost movie.
It is a ghost story / haunted house movie. Although I think 6 corrected us. This is supposed to be ghost stories, not haunted house movies. I am sorry.
Okay.
She said haunted house movies is next year. It all kind of works though.
This is so it's 1984. This is one of my favorite versions of this
I was
story
gonna say, which one is this one you're talking
because
about?
this is the one with George C. Scott, and
yeah.
I was very much affected by George C. Scott in Patton, to the point that I've really dove into the Patton story and how much of it was true and how much of it was legend and all those things from there. But I thought he was just George Patton. Then I saw this film. I was like, oh, he's actually an actor. It was very well done, a very well put on production for the time. This is my freshman year in high school, actually. So one of the movies I've enjoyed around ghosts and ghost stories. I don't mind it. When we get into actual possessions, like one of the things that did in the chat when we talk about this is a ghostly possession versus a demonic possession. This is something where ghosts are coming to teach you. There's many different versions of this. Scrooge comes to mind. There's one here with that is a great version of the story. But if it wasn't for the ghosts in this film, the ghosts of Christmas past, future, and present, there is no story. So to me, it's definitely a ghost story. And there was a house in it. So there we go.
There you go.
I almost put Scrooged on my list, so yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I thought about
I
that.
care.
Oh, sorry. Tom,
At least
I'm
Gary
sorry,
got
he's
it.
going through his menopause.
It's from Scrooged.
It's from Scrooge. What
When
a
our
great
people
film.
do that, you're going to give people nightmares.
But if you want to have a nice time with your kids, this is something I've shown to my kids, and we've sat around Halloween, like Hocus Pocus and all those kind of things. Christmas Carol is also something around there that it's not overtly religious. It is about being kind to others, no matter your station, and that's something I'm really into. So
There you go. And then we've got Brahmable with the black phone.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah,
racist.
more recent one. Yeah, I saw it earlier this year, I think, and it stuck with me a little bit. It's a little bit different. I tried to go with some that weren't going to just automatically make everybody's list, but this one's Ethan Hawke playing, I think his name's the Grabber in this, and the basic premise of the movie is that he kidnaps kids, takes them to this room, and there's a phone in the room that is not connected to anything, but every time it rings, the kid answers, and it's all the other kids that have been abducted before him, telling him what to do and what's going on. So it was pretty interesting one.
Wow.
It's more like a haunted phone than it is a haunted house, but it is definitely not any type of possession stuff. It's just kind of a thriller with some paranormal activity type stuff.
Probably written by a telemarketer.
Not like the movie Paranormal Activity, but paranormal stuff happening. Yeah. Anybody else see it?
Nope.
No, sounds interesting though.
It's actually, yeah, it's a different kind of premise than
Yeah.
most of your thrillers or haunting movies. So that's why it stuck out a little bit.
Have to check it out.
Yeah. It was either this year or last year, I think. So it's really recent. Docs, you muted.
Ethan Hunt's in this one, or not Ethan Hunt?
Yeah,
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke. Yeah.
I'm surprised that something current year would call an evil phone the black phone and not the cracker phone or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's probably on Netflix.
That's true. Oh, it was obviously done by the Koreans.
All right, let's keep moving along. We've got Andy with Stir of Echoes, the Sixth Sense combatant. It came out around the same time, but this one had Kevin Bacon in it.
Yeah, very creepy. It takes a little while to get going with it, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. But it's very creepy. It's got your Kevin Bacon does a great performance, and it's like there is a lot of similarity with Sixth Sense, but the way this plays out, I think, is pretty interesting. One thing I found that once I watched The Sixth Sense, and I knew what happened. I really haven't watched it again. This one I've watched several times, so I find it a little bit more interesting than just that. Although I do appreciate Bruce Willis's performance and everything in it, in The Sixth Sense. I find this one a little bit more, little eerier, if that's a word. Anybody see it?
I actually haven't seen this one.
I haven't either.
I can picture it, Kevin Bacon, but I haven't actually watched it.
Saw it in the theater long ago.
I think your description's accurate. It's a slow roll.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that slow roll happens reminds me of a movie called What Lies Beneath with right. So it's that same kind of what's going on. I mean, What Lies Beneath could kind of be a ghost story if it wasn't, right? But it could be, and it was shot in that way. Right. Stir of Echoes kind of did that same thing, and it draws you in. And it's not so long that you're tired by the time the plot hits, right? Yeah, but you're right. Kevin Bacon, from his first role in Animal House to now, has become a very good actor, and did a very good job selling this in this. And you can tell as it goes along, his emotions change, and his level of how and stuff change. You can tell that he's acted that very well. But yeah, you nailed everything on this. This is a great film. And what I almost put on my list, and I have to say that I didn't because I saw you did it. I'm like, not going to do it.
And Tom's getting blamed for misspellings.
Oh, sorry about that. That was me.
Sitter.
The Sitter of Echoes.
It was an Indian movie, Sitar of Echoes.
Sitar of Echoes. No, it's going to be misspelled like this through everything, just letting you know.
Yeah, so is my name, apparently.
And didn't
yours?
George Harrison also do the soundtrack for that, I think?
He did.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Gary, the Sentinel, not one I'm too familiar with, but I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, this movie's bizarre. The only reason I had heard of it is because Corey Feldman mentions it in The Burbs, and the way he described it, I thought it was pretty cool. So I checked it out, and it's got Chris Sarandon, and it's one of those weird, kind of lost, forgotten 70s creepy, just bizarro, strange horror movies that really, to me it's all over the place. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense until the very end of the movie. But Burgess Meredith is in it, and
it's a Michael Winner, Gary. Winner.
and Beverly D'Angelo is in it, and she's doing some pretty raunchy stuff in it too. So
I'm sold.
Oh yeah, you'll appreciate her scenes, that's for sure. But again, just a fucking weird movie. Just weird. I kind of I didn't pick necessarily my favorite ones. I just picked some kind of bizarro weird stuff that I didn't want,
That's all right.
I didn't want repeats on the list. So I'm, just trying to shake it up a little bit,
I'm glad you did, because that's what I was thinking after my list. I'm looking at my list. It's like all X's.
Right.
It's like,
right.
Right.
That's why I dodged some of those too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad there's a little bit and not only that, people may not know this movie, and I'm glad you brought it to our attention, because this is one I probably would check out.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep moving then.
Mhm.
So my number 5 is an XXXX. It's a very naughty movie, just
Mm.
like Sadie, who wants to play right now.
Uh-oh.
If you can hear her chewing on her turtle.
Oh yeah, we hear
She
it.
likes turtles too.
I want everyone to know
I like
this was
turtles.
actually a porno film, and I
It
just
was.
X'd it out. Yeah, just letting you know.
The Devil and Miss Jones.
There you go. That's possession, though.
Shit.
We've had this talk, Tom,
Oh, jeez.
We did for
for
hours.
about 6 hours on Friday night.
All right. Well,
Specific genres.
I think I'm the end of the list, right? So let's check in with the
You are the
audience.
end. Yes.
Because boy, you guys have been generous during the first part of this list here. We've got all kinds of super chats. Jason Webster says, and it's time now for now comes bedtime horror stories with Tom Connors. Gather around, kids. Thank you so much for being here, Jason. Says, and it's time for now comes bed, and he says it again, for bedtime horror stories with Tom Connors. Gather around, kids. Thank you for that, Jason. You may want to check that. It feels like you hit it and it keeps coming through twice on you or something like that. I'd hate for you to keep getting double charged for the same messages. Southern Belle says, is blonde. Yes, Sadie, I know you want me to throw the turtle, but I'm busy. It's time for me to work. Hang on a second, guys. I got to throw the turtle.
That's
Wow.
code.
Yeah.
That's code. Is it throwing the turtle? That's code.
Throwing the turtle. Yes. hmm That's why I X'd out 3 of Tom. Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever. There it is.
Usually
gosh.
people just drop a turtle, but Tom.
Uh-oh.
Mhm. Tom is turtling.
Ew.
Tom's got a turtle head.
Tom muted
poker.
himself too.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of am. Did you guys hear the turtle or not? Because she's back
No.
with it already.
No,
Oh,
you
you're-
muted yourself.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I was muted. I said, see, there's the turtle. And then I squeaked it, and now she won't give it back to me. Give me a turtle. Give me a turtle.
My turtle.
My turtle. See? Go get it. All right. Southern Belle says, is Blondie Has Servant Trouble 1940 on the list? I don't know, Southern Belle. I guess you'll have to wait to find out.
No, but its original title, Gone with the Wind, is. Yeah.
Gone with the Wind? Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Is it on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
It's on
It
Netflix
is.
Canada.
'Cause it's
I have
Korean.
never heard of this film, so
Yeah, sorry
I'd like
about
to
that.
Try that.
There was a whole
Check it out.
series of Blondie movies, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Sadie, I love you to death, but you picked the wrong time sometimes to play. Iranian Putin has been a member for 6 months and gifted 5 memberships. That's right, Sadie. I know. I will throw the turtle. Jeez. Give me that turtle then if you want me to throw it. You took off,
Mark.
you little shit.
Mark's 47 in chat is saying when you were squeaking the toy, his dog started going nuts.
Oh, no. Sorry. She took off.
Kind of
with
like
it.
when
Now
we
she's
used the
being a shit.
doorbell sound effect and everybody's dogs go running.
Now she's killing the turtle. You know, like whipping it back and forth with her head. Yeah.
Nice.
Showing off. She thinks she's showing off to you guys, probably.
Yeah, I got that doorbell right next to something. And that's right next to laugh and applause. So.
Oh, that happens. Thank you,
Yeah.
Iranian Putin, again for gifting 5 memberships. And
Thank
he
you.
says thanks with $2 as well. Well, thank you for all the support. Jen gifted 10 memberships as well.
All
Holy
right.
crap.
Wow.
Thank you,
That's
Jen.
good. Nice.
Here's
Thank
to
you,
that.
Jen.
15 whole memberships already this show. Thank you to all those who, or congratulations to those who got them, and thank you to those who gifted them. Nick S says another good creepy Korean movie is Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. Is it on Netflix? Check it out. Sorry, no midgets in it, Tom. Well, if there's no midgets, that's another reason not to watch it. And then Mark's 47 has been a member for 30 months.
Wow, 30
Thank
months.
you so very much for that. All right, and I'm going to be starting a poll while we get into this next part of the list here, guys. So stay tuned for that. I forgot to get one up because I was on Valiant's channel, and I was like, "Crap, I forgot to get
You
polls
forgot to
up."
get it up.
So Tom forgot to get his
my
poll
poll
up. That,
Well,
strangely
yeah.
enough, that's the title of the number 5 movie he picked.
It is. It is. That's
Poltergeist.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
You got that. You earned that one.
All right, so let's keep going here. 70s rock fan Brian,
Okay,
number
I got
4,
it.
High Plains Drifter.
Oh, that's meta.
I've gone way off base.
Meta
Yeah,
as hell.
meta.
Okay, so yeah, this is really ghost stories.
High
I'll probably
Plains
change the title, but
Drifter
Nobody
is
will notice.
not a western. It's a ghost story,
Yeah.
but it's not about a haunted house. I'll admit it's about a haunted town. So Clint Eastwood's unnamed I guess you could call him Drifter because that's in the title.
Unnamed Drifter, yeah.
Wanders into town and proceeds to, in the guise of helping them, torture the inhabitants of said town and then take brutal revenge on the people who come to oppress the town. And it's a ghost story. I shouldn't say any more because there may be people out there. Weirdly enough, there may be people out there who've never seen it. It's one of Clint's great westerns, but it's a ghost story, really. He haunts the town.
That's a great movie.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have included Pale Rider, but I felt this one was more of a haunting. Pale Rider is more of a ghost revenge story. This is more of a haunting revenge.
Well, the movie is shot kind of like it is a haunted thriller.
It's surreal
really
and otherworldly.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just because they have the fog coming over the lake that they're next to, and it's just it's odd.
Yeah,
but, I saw this. I thought it was a great pick.
Gets them to paint the town blood red and all that kind of thing. It's
Welcome to Hell. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. I thought this was a great pick. And that's the only praise you get from me from the year.
I know that's it for the month, the year.
Much to Peter Dinklage's chagrin, they cast a dwarf in the movie.
That's right, they did.
Oh,
they did. Leave it to 70s to pick up.
He's a major character in it too.
He is. He becomes the sheriff
and the mayor.
And the mayor, sorry, and the mayor, not the sheriff. That's right. Yeah,
that's right. No, Hey Plains Drifter is a bit of a. I wouldn't call it a cheat, but it's a very nice kind of pull because there could be a debate about it. Some people debate on the whole premise of the film on whether or not he is an actual person or a ghost or death himself, or, there's a lot of debate on that whole thing because it is a different character in the beginning of the movie. So you can't say it's the same character. You could say it's his brother. There's that. I mean, or something like that, or a friend or a family member like that.
Pale Rider.
It's implied that he is the reincarnation of the murdered or the previously murdered.
That's kind of the one of the series,
but never confirmed.
Nope,
like
never
Crow.
confirmed.
Like the Crow.
And in fact, the Crow has. That's funny you mentioned that because the Crow has a lot of inspiration from that. Actually,
there's a similar feel to some of it. Plot wise. Yep.
It's amazing how many great films Clint Eastwood has been in. I was watching an actor's studio last night, and they had Morgan Freeman on, and they said, "Who's your favorite director?" And without missing a beat, he said Clint Eastwood, hands down. He's the best director I've ever had. And for someone like Morgan Freeman to say that, that's pretty high praise. And you just look at the films that the man has made, and you can tell they're well directed.
He's always under budget, on time, and he's never lost money that I know of.
And any of his films, $1 Million Baby won an Oscar,
brilliant movie.
Unforgiven.
If you don't weep your eyes out at the end of $1 Million Baby, then you're not human.
Right.
I'm not. There we go.
There's a great interview with Saul Rubinek, who was in Unforgiven. He played the author that was following around English Bob, and he talks about Clint Eastwood's directing process and everything. It's about maybe a 15-minute interview, so it's really interesting stuff. Yeah, Clint Eastwood, every time I watch somebody who's worked with him, they got nothing but the highest praise.
Cool.
Indeed. All right, we'll keep moving along here. We got Scribe with his number 4 pick that didn't make anybody else's list so far. The Sixth Sense.
Yes, the
counter to the other one we just talked about.
One of the 2 M. Night Shyamalan movies that really did work at the end of the day. This I saw it in the theater. It made a really big impact on me at the time. The only problem was I was a bit too smart for my own good. In one of the early trailers on TV for this, there's a scene in the trailer that's not in the movie, and so it kind of gave away the twist before I even saw the film. If you can find an old trailer, there's one little bit where
Bruce Willis almost gets hit by a car. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, Bruce Willis almost got hit by a car, and that stuck in my mind as I was watching the movie, and I kept waiting for that part to happen. I thought, why is that not here? And the more I thought about it, even before I saw the movie, I thought, can they not see him? And that threw it all off for me. But I mean, it's still an enjoyable movie even before that because I wasn't 100% sure. But
and what's funny is I think they cut it out not so much because of what you just said, but because it could be understandable that a driver wasn't paying attention and he got, honked at or something like that, or almost hit.
Sure.
In all fairness, it is set in Philadelphia, and they don't stop for you. So
That's also true.
But I was just going to say, what it does do is if you leave that scene in, because I can't remember he's not with the kid at that time, right? That's the whole point. Is I think it's too much from his perspective, because there's already too many of those scenes in there that are kind of like thrown away. Like, and that's the thing is he generally has to be in the scenes that are in the movie now is he's attached to someplace, or he's attached to an individual. So if you see him by himself like that, that's usually, I think that would kind of go against the whole idea of the film.
Yeah, the rules of the universe. Yeah.
I think that's why it was removed more than the other reason. But that was interesting that you picked it out. And I noticed it wasn't there when I saw the film, but I think that's because all the trailers are on the DVD or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, but the thing that really sells this movie beyond anything else, the story, the direction, is really Haley Joel Osment. It really does not work without, if that was any other kid, you put in young Darth Vader into that, it would not work. That kid just knocked it out of the park for that performance, and he carries the whole movie. But Willis, it was such a turn, because you don't usually see Willis doing drama. And at that point in time, him doing was effectively a drama, not an action movie, or him playing the heavy. It set me as a viewer not sure where the movie was going, just because I'm so used to seeing him in a particular genre. And so, but overall, really great film. Once you know the twist, it kind of takes things away a little bit, but it's still pretty effective.
Luckily, you have the bit where basically Bruce Willis is vicariously being a social worker to these other ghosts through the kid.
Yes.
That's kind of the secondary part of the story, and that's kind of setting him up for the kid to be able to kind of social work him into the idea that, or, give him therapy when he realizes, oh yeah, basically you're not alive anymore.
Right.
And what threw me off about that opening bit, and that's probably why I got tricked, was like just the idea of like, I was like looking for, I didn't realize until way late in the game that was Donnie Wahlberg.
Right, Donnie Wahlberg, yeah.
Because I'm like looking for Donnie Wahlberg through the whole movie, and I realized that was him, and I'm like, oh shit. And then it's like, anyway.
Absolute chameleon in that role, yeah.
He was. It was crazy. But anyway, anything more to say about Sixth Sense, guys? Anybody else?
I really enjoyed it the first watch through. I've watched it a couple times since. It loses what it had on the first watch through, like most of his movies do. So.
Yeah, true enough.
But it was a good movie.
Rewatch,
yeah.
Yeah, Sixth Sense and The Usual Suspects are the two movies that are really hard to watch a second time.
Mm-hmm. The Usual Suspects I've watched hundreds of times. I just love the movie. I love the dialogue in Usual Suspects.
Okay.
So it does something a little bit different for me.
See, I can liken that like a Tarantino movie, yeah. All right, let's keep moving.
What you're saying about the twist, yeah.
Toxic Man Flu bringing in another curveball with Field of Dreams.
Tom, that was so good. There's a house in this one. Yeah.
Well, I changed the title already on the YouTube side.
Wasn't this the porn version, Field of Creams?
Oh,
Creams, yeah. That's
no, it's a great choice. I never even, and I think somebody even said in the chat, didn't even think of it as a ghost story until you had it on your list.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we were having a discussion about possession. Like there's ghost possession and malevolent and benevolent type things like that. And ghost stories are kind of along that as well. Some of them are malevolent and some of them are benevolent. And this is one of those where the ghosts they're wandering the earth, and just in this supernatural world, whatever, didn't know what was going on. And then this guy was hearing this, built this, and they all got to come together, all of these greats of the game of baseball, to play one game together just for the love of the game, which also was another Kevin Costner film. I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan when it comes to films, and a lot of this with James Earl Jones and stuff there, but just the concept of all these great people from history coming back, getting together, and just enjoying something in life that they don't have anymore, right? And it's to me, it's a celebration of life and what we have now. Take advantage of it. Do those things because you don't know when something you love is going to be gone from there. So Field of Dreams, yeah, it just, I always saw them as ghosts coming back. and something that they could do to move on or to unfinished business or maybe something like that, right?
To a
Shoeless
degree,
Joe
it's
Jackson.
like, Cats in the Cradle to a degree for a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
guys.
a lot like that.
one.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. So that's why I picked it.
All right. Interesting one, like I said.
Yeah.
Then we've got Bromable, or Bromble, as it's spelled here.
Rumble.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Bromble.
That's my southern drawl coming out in my
A
spelling.
Brumble in the jungle.
And that reminds me, this episode has been brought to you by Brahma Milk.
It goes down as smooth as silk. That's right, you won't gag on Brahma's milk.
Made from real bull's balls. That's right. Number 4, you picked Oculus.
Oculus. Yeah, another semi-recent one. I think it's about 9 years old. Came out in 2004, I believe. Or no, 2014. It's got Katie Sackhoff and Karen Gillan, so you can't go wrong there. Basically, the premise of the movie is you have time shifting, so you have the two main characters as kids and the two main characters as adults. Something happens to the kids with their family. It's more of a mirror is haunted, and it kind of drives everybody mad. And then after, they kind of shift to the kids as the adults, and they're trying to destroy the mirror, and it's doing flashback stuff through the whole movie. It was pretty good. Yeah, somebody in the chat said it is a WWE film, so didn't expect much out of it. But the wife just watched it with me about 3 hours ago for the first time. I think she liked it, and yeah, just good movie. Katie Sackhoff, Karen Gillan, good stuff. Anybody else?
Sound like anybody else seen it? Yeah.
No, it's yeah. I think Brahma chose boobs. Chose the boobies.
Brombull.
Well,
Karen Gillan.
Brumbo.
You don't actually see Katie's in the movie, but there's
They're still there.
there's plenty of skimpy clothing. Yeah.
All right. Keep moving on. Andy has the Ghost and Mrs. Mary, which I think was brought up in the chat already.
Somebody brought it up in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. So take it away, my friend.
It is a wonderful. It's actually more of a. It's kind of like a romantic comedy before Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore did theirs, and the story of this lonely widow that moves into this little cottage with her daughter, and at first there's like these strange things that happen, and there's this cantankerous old sea captain ghost, and they fall in love, and it's he realizes it's not going to, it's bad for her, and he kind of sets her up with like, here's the story, and there's a whole bunch of different twists in it, and but it's very sweet. It's very there's a couple parts in the beginning when you see some of the ghost story happen where it's pretty creepy. Rex Harrison and just does a fabulous performance in this, and Gene Tierney is absolutely gorgeous. And I just find it one of those very enjoyable stories to watch. And when I had an opportunity to throw in a ghost story that probably wouldn't make anybody's list, I had to jump at it.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it before this list, but it looks like it has at least one fan out in the.
Well, it's
I guess he spelt it wrong.
I spelt it wrong. Yeah, sorry about that. This almost made my list too.
Take a drink every time Tox spells it wrong, and you'll be dead by the end of the night.
Yeah, you will be.
Well, 1947. It's definitely before everybody's time here, but it's such a good movie, and it's something that when we get the opportunity to throw some of these things in here, I think the best part about these lists we're making is it exposes a lot of people who've never seen a lot of these to the possibility they can go watch them and see something. As we're starving for good content, go back and look at the classics.
That is what I was about to bring up. We talk about these, talk about the Thin Man movies, talk about the Sherlock Holmes movies that I've seen. All these things were made in the 30s and 40s, the Scarlet Pimpernel. Now, there's just so many good films. Even the Maltese Falcon, right? And all of those things oh, they're just so good. They're well made. They're well crafted films, and the black and white, much like what it's done for Brahma, makes certain people look very suave and debonair. So, yeah,
you can't see the blemishes.
That's right.
Exactly.
Or the shine.
The shine.
The shining.
He's Clobby.
Hey, Clobby.
You misspelled
It
Miri.
is. Yeah. Something about the ghost in Miss Miri.
The Ghost of Mrs. Muir is a Scottish movie, I think.
Yeah. It's spun off into a claw. What's a claw?
Into a claw.
Claw. What the claw? The claw.
Claw?
Ugh.
If
Is
you
it
haven't
in
seen this
comic?
film and it's worth the time to go watch this film. I just want to say that. It is definitely worth the time for you to go seek the Ghost of Mrs.
All right.
All right.
Keep moving on. Gary, Watcher in the Woods.
Oh yeah.
Which I had that interesting scene in the intro from with the mirror. I thought that was kind of.
Is it spelled right?
Yeah,
Never seen it.
Okay.
Looks like it's spelled right, so that's good. No drinks. Yeah, I picked this because it's not the greatest movie ever. And there was a re-release of it that was really awful. They shot a new ending to it, and they even put an alien in it or some bullshit like that. And it was really bad. But they re-released it in the theater. But I remember when I was real little, my parents took me to the video store, and of course, this movie was one of the Disney clamshell, VHS tapes that you could rent.
Yeah.
And if they were in that white clamshell with the Disney logo on it, then hey, it was safe to watch, right? If you were a kid, you could watch it. They had the Black Hole and Watcher in the Woods, and I watched both of them. And this one, when I was little, really scared me because Betty Davis was terrifying, and I was super, I had the hots for Lynn Holly Johnson. She was in For Your Eyes Only. She's in this movie. She's a total babe, and the images I remember from this movie when I was a kid were when she's touching the mirror and it kind of cracks into a triangle, and then there's the image of the ghost in it. That was pretty cool. Again, it was really how it struck me when I was a kid. That's the reason why I put it on the list. So, it wasn't a great rewatch because I've seen worse things now, but definitely made an impression on me when I was younger.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. From the. Go ahead.
Good thing to put in there because, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was asking me of a list of films that he could show to his kids as they're getting older through Halloween, because he was trying to kind of draw on a blank. And when they get into like those adolescent years, when they're not going to sit there and watch, especially the boys are not going to sit there and watch Hocus Pocus over again.
Right.
But you want something that's going to be a little creepy, but not too bad. That's like going to give them severe nightmares and trauma, and lead to alcoholism and other Irish things.
Right.
Like Troll.
Troll
Slightly
2.
scary, but
Right.
more funny and goofy.
And we have joining us, even though he doesn't have a list, Mr. Valiant Renegade. How you doing?
Good.
You did it.
Good. Had to pop in for a few minutes here. What is going on, gentlemen?
We are going through our top 5 not haunted house movie, ghost story movies.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because we changed our idea 5 times.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
were
give a
wrapping up,
shit
and
at this point.
George had asked me to ask you to send him the
Yeah,
link.
sure.
He would try to hop in for a
Sure.
little bit.
I don't know if he's aware of what we're doing, but yes, so we're going through our list. We're on Gary's pick right now, Watcher in the Woods, the Disney classic, which is one after seeing the trailer for, after going through the whole clip show I did for the beginning of the show, I might check that one out now. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on that one.
Yeah.
What's
again,
up, Gary
keep
and
in
Andy?
mind-
Hadn't seen you guys in a while. It's
What's
good to
up,
see y'all.
VR, man? Hey,
dude.
Good to see you, man. Hey, like I was saying, Tom, Watcher in the Woods it's a kid's horror movie, so you're not going to get much out of it, but you'll appreciate it.
No, it just looked interesting, right? And I just picked up speaking of that, I just got Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is one I ain't seen.
That's a really good movie.
I like that one.
Ever.
I like that one.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to check that out for Halloween this year too. So yeah.
VR. Anytime I've misspelled something in one of these slides, you have to take a drink.
Yeah, you'll be dead by the end of the show.
Yeah.
I can probably come up with a 5 haunted house movie. Give me a minute here, and I'll make a list.
Well, we're all over the place with these ideas because some of us did different. Like it's just a weird list right now. It's kind of like haunted ghost story type movies.
Like my number 4 was Field of Dreams.
Mine was Devil and Miss Jones. No, I'm kidding. All right, so here we go. Was the next
Dallas.
one, which is mine is House 2: The Second Story.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those rare sequels that I would argue is better than the original.
God, you know what? The line, I don't know why. Since I was a kid, I never forgot when the old guy, like zombie ghost, dead corpse guy, whatever his name was, I can't remember it. He just walks out there and he says some line about, "I'm just a 170-year-old fart." You know, it's something like that.
Real Dano, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I always remember that as a kid. Watching that with my friends, we were like 10 years old. We just cracked up at that line so bad. It's stuck with me now for 30 years plus.
What I also love is it's got what's his face who plays Cliff from
John
Cheers
Ratzenberger.
John's right. He's like, "Hey, got your typical interdimensional hole here, I see."
So perfect.
Nonchalant.
Yeah, just a great story, great special effects. Not as scary as the first film, definitely going for more of the goof and the fun.
I was about to say that was more comedy than horror.
It
in
was
in my book. Yeah.
Yeah, from the producers of Friday the 13th, and at the same time, it's just a hilarious romp through this crazy house. Similar idea to the first film, but totally new cast. I believe it's a completely different house, obviously. A little bit different take. But you never know. Maybe the first movie will pop up on somebody's list. You never know. Anybody got anything else to say about? Oh, I will say this about, it's never mind. It's the first one I wanted to say something about. Never mind. But House 2 is an excellent haunted house movie.
You know, remakes coming on the first one.
Are they really?
Yeah, apparently 2024. There's apparently there's a remake. They're rebooting the franchise. Who knows?
The first two are perfect.
They catch the girl and made her gay.
Yeah.
there were 3
Put a chick in
sequels
it,
to
make
the
her gay.
Make it lame.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
All right. You know what's also funny about this? Speaking of that, this is one of the rare movies like this that actually has male protagonists throughout the franchise. Normally, you know, it's especially in haunted house movies, it's always a woman, but
yeah, final
especially
girl
in the horror genre, yeah.
Well, that's because the woman has to make all the bad decisions. The guy would just be like, "I'm getting in the car and getting out of here," and then the movie's over.
Except for haunted house movies, that's usually when the guy's like, "I paid too goddamn much for this place. We're not leaving.
We're not
That's
leaving."
right.
The money.
Fuck that.
I don't care how many dead Indians are buried outside.
We'll have a powwow about it, all
Or
right?
how many more we have to bury.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Well, Mr. Renegade, there are like 15 pet cemeteries right next door to your property, but it's a great price.
Elizabeth Warren comes in as Tangina.
Oh, I believe it after seeing 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, some people would regret buying a house next to the Jonestown massacre site, but others.
Hey, but you? That's right.
Not so
Some
much.
people are like,
Not
this
so
is
much.
where all the murders took place. I'm like, yeah, that's why I wanted
That's
it.
why I got it.
That's why I want it.
So your names
I-
are Tucker and Dale, and you're selling this property. That's
Oh,
why
I love that movie. Oh
I
my
love
god.
it.
One of the greatest movies
The
ever.
teenager
made.
just threw himself at the.
Some college kid just threw himself in a wood chipper over here. That movie
so
was
yes,
brilliant.
House
Alan
2
Tudyk
is
was
also
great,
brilliant. Check it out, kids, if you haven't already. Moving on, we've got 70s rock fan with the others.
I can't believe
No.
I'm the first one to
Stop
mention this.
othering me.
I
What a
almost-
great
You're
fourth
not.
transfer.
You're not. That was my number 5, so that's why we both get a.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
Wait,
I
Tom,
got
did you
all
get the
the-
4K?
I did not. So, but Scribe Light and Brahma duke it, or Brian duke it out. Who gets to talk about it first, and then y'all talk about it.
Go ahead, Brian. Age before beauty. Go ahead.
Well, it's senility before beauty. This is a really, really beautiful, creepy movie with a ton of atmosphere. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's about a mother and her two photosensitive children who go to live at a large, creepy mansion in Jersey. And
sounds like a good setup.
Supernatural stuff starts to happen, like they find photo albums full of corpses, and then these weird people turn up to be servants that used to work there years ago.
The cast of Jersey Shore.
Just because there's Joyzy, it's that kind of Joyzy. But throughout it, there's a bunch of signposts towards the ending, and I'm not going to give the ending away throughout it, but the ending is very satisfying. I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
And there's a scene, I think my favorite and one of the creepiest
Would
things
you
I've ever
say
seen.
it's a happy ending?
For Nicole Kidman, perhaps not. The creepiest scene is the Christopher Eccleston stuff, where he just appears out of the mist. Her First World War missing husband appears out of the mist suddenly. And then you start to think, that's a bit strange. So, great movie. Love it. Very, very atmospheric. A Spanish movie, but English language, which is unusual.
70s. If you haven't got, if you really love, I love that movie too. It just got remastered on 4K physical media.
Oh, nice.
I just got it this week. I had it pre-ordered for 3 months since it was first announced, and I watched it. My kids had never seen it. I love that movie. I'm totally with you. And the 4K remaster looks absolutely beautiful because there's so much dark shadows in that movie. It really needed that lift.
Yeah,
they did a great job.
The cinematography is gorgeous in it, and it's so much atmosphere and creepiness in it. Love it.
Yeah, but Scribe, you had it on your list as well.
Yeah, it's just such a great gothic atmosphere. It really felt like to me, given it came out in like 2001, I believe. And when I saw it, it really felt to me, and those of you that know better than I do, correct me, it felt like a throwback to the old Hammer horror, just sort of very atmospheric, situational.
I was going to say that too,
movies. Yeah, it really felt like an homage to a good old Hammer horror movie. And Nicole Kidman's performance is great. The atmosphere is great. The cinematography is amazing. The visuals just make you feel unsettled the entire movie. Like you feel like that sort of oppressive, almost
isolation,
wet fog.
Isolation.
Isolation. Yeah, it really, you can hear every creak. Like the whole movie feels like a creaking old house. The more you watch it, and won't say too much. Don't want to give anything away. Anybody who hasn't seen it, but definitely check it out. It's really good.
The beauty in that movie is really the simplicity of the practical effects.
Yeah, that's
just everything was in camera. Everything was simple. It was real. You never got taken out of it. I mean, if they remade that movie, God forbid, today, I mean, it would be rife with CGI and garbage.
Yeah, they don't hit you over the head with it.
They would ruin it. They'd up the pace and put a lot of gore in it, and it doesn't need it.
No.
I also want to give a shout out to a great British actor that's in it called Eric Sykes, who played the butler, the aging butler, and he's a very well-known British comedic actor. And he was getting on quite old at the time he made this movie. It was a wonderful
the gardener.
performance.
Yeah.
He was this older British boy that he was in a lot of movies in the 50s, 60s, 70s. He worked with the Pythons and all those guys, and lovely old comedians. It was nice to see him get this, which is one of his last roles, I think. Nice to see him get a lovely movie.
Okay, that makes he worked with the Pythons. It would do all that. That's why I knew his face from somewhere. For years, I've watched that movie. I was like, I know this guy. Now it clicks.
He made a bunch of movies with those guys and guys like Peter Cook and Dudley Moore and whatever. Yeah, so lovely to see him in a nice movie. Like it's not a comedy either. Not a comedy.
I haven't seen it since it come out. I haven't picked up the 4K yet because I'm waiting. Whoop. Who did we lose?
Oh,
looks like Andy.
Andy probably had a hiccup. I don't see any private messages or anything. Usually lets me know if he's got a room.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be back. All right. So I'm moving on here.
Maybe he just hates the others.
Scribe Light, a movie I just watched the other night, and I was asking about because I was curious. I was thinking about putting it on mine too. Hellraiser, a classic.
Yeah, not exactly a haunted house movie, but
I guess
in a way. I guess it's arguable whether or not the
haunted
Cenobites
object,
are ghosts per se.
Haunted box.
Yeah, haunted box. Don't say that about somebody's ex-wife. I'm sure. But yeah, no, I mean, Clive Barker took over directing this one, and I'll tell you what, for his first directing, I believe it is his first directing job, doing his own bit. He knocked it out of the park with this one. And when I saw it as a kid, it was just. It's just one of those things where I felt like this is something I shouldn't be watching, like a kid, like this is, it's not just like, oh, this is an R-rated movie I shouldn't see. Like, it is morally incorrect for me to watch this film as a kid. And
when you're saying as a kid, like how old?
Oh, well, let's see. Hellraiser came out in what, like
87, I think.
7 or something. Yeah. So I was
86
like
or 87. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like 8 or 9 years old, whichever. So yeah, I saw it as a kid, and it was just, I don't know what to tell you. Even today, it is the visuals in that and the special effects are still so, they're not quite Rob Bottin The Thing, but when you see somebody getting their flesh ripped apart by hooks and stuff, it drives you nuts. And
this film made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is overwhelming foreboding throughout the entire thing. Like in every scene, you just feel like, you're claustrophobic. Something's coming, and it was just.
In the Cenobites, they found a way of being an original kind of creation at the same time as looking like something modern. And it was one of the first times I'd ever heard the term psychosexual. Right.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is they look like something straight out of a leather bar of that period, but also they look timeless in that they can fit in almost any period because of the way they're just torn apart. Right.
Yeah.
They're just themselves visions of just grotesqueness mixed with beauty. And it's just a strange kind of like I love the concept of them being that, right? Like just the whole idea of, it's where pain meets pleasure, and they are the ultimate penultimate of that. And I love the line, of course, that Pinhead says, angels to some, demons to others. I mean, it's a perfect, brilliant line. I mean, and of course you got Hellraiser 2, which takes it more fantasy oriented, but it's a great fucking film, brilliantly made. Excellent story, great little ghost story, haunted house kind of story, because it is all kind of taking place in one place. It's built on a very low budget idea as well, for the fact that they had no money to spend on this. The special effects are out of this world. But Gary, I don't know if you're a fan at all or if you have any goodies from it, but yeah.
No, I'm not too familiar with Hellraiser.
Okay.
I don't have any fun props from it either. That was
I just thought I'd ask.
That little box that he, takes apart.
I thought maybe you'd at least have a box. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The lament configuration.
The lament configurations. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was one of the first mainstream torture porn type movies, though.
In a way, yeah.
Split off into that.
It's BDSM horror, basically. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. Not so much torture porn, but more BDSM horror. But there's definitely a.
But you can see where it gets there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but the villain design is just out of this world.
Exactly, that's my point.
And I always and like you're describing sort of like horror plus beauty and everything. Maybe this is a step beyond, but I almost put the design of those characters in the same line as like H.R. Geiger and the Alien and that kind of thing, where you have this sort of, it's menacing.
Yes.
There's an artistic sense to it that makes it really appealing, and you want to see more of it.
It's grotesque, yet you have a sexuality to it at the same time. It's
right.
And yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Giger's one of those that was probably the king of that to begin with. Yeah. Oh yeah, you could clearly see his inspiration in Hellraiser, big time.
And even if you never watched the movie, you knew who Pinhead was.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Which is funny because he's not even called that in the first movie.
Right, but if you went to a rental store, I mean, the pictures of him stuck out in your head. Kind of like the Phantasm ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remembered the little orbs.
It's also one of my favorite songs by British glam rock band The Sweet.
No deal.
Hellraiser.
They used that in the third song.
Hellraiser.
Oh, they used the one from Black Sabbath in the third song or whatever.
Yeah.
Or third movie, I mean. Anyway. keep going here because we're getting tight on time. Toxic Man Flu's number 3 is XXXXXX. Does the missus know?
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. So.
It's the devil within her this time.
Beyond the Green Door.
Yeah, I saw this one on somebody else's list, and I was like, oh, no, that makes sense. Not my favorite, but I can see where it is the favorite of others. So I said, okay, I'm just going to move it right along.
Moving right along.
And from my favorite movie of all time. Love them.
Rumble.
Also X's.
Rumble.
Also X's. No O's.
I might have to do a commercial. Rumble.
All hugs, no kisses.
Rumble.
Rumble balls. All one word.
America. Brumble.
America. Brahma Bulls balls. Made in America.
That, what it made me think of is like, this is like the Russian version. We love Brumble.
Brumble.
Brumble's my favorite.
Brumble.
Make white Russian very male.
It's Russian for Andy Masterson. Brumble beer.
We love brown ball.
So yeah, so you whatever your number 3 is will be on somebody else's list coming up. So we'll come back around to it.
Yep.
And Andy, he picked the first House film from 1986, starring William Catt. Excellent film, and George Wendt.
Yes, and rest in peace, Richard Mole.
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up. Thank you, Andy. But yeah, go ahead since it's your pick.
A lot of fun in this movie. Great special effects, great practical effects. William Catt, who was the greatest American hero. You know, and
believe it or not,
yeah, he's walking on air. But it was a lot of fun. It was kind of unexpected. Like it kind of popped up, and nobody was really took it too seriously, and it actually did really well. It was, at least in my crowd, anyway. Everybody, we went to see it a couple times. I found it to be a lot of fun, and it was creepy, and it wasn't just a typical story that like a typical haunted house story that was like a rehash. So I really like that. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it, and I think you'll be entertained by it. It's really good for the season, and it's not out of it's not really out there with like the gore and disgusting. A lot of the stuff that came out in the 80s could be over the top with that. And this is pretty mild, but good story, I thought.
Yeah, much like the first one. Oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying I haven't seen it. I haven't seen either of them, so I'm gonna definitely check them out since there's both
4
on
of
your
them
list.
actually. I was just looking to see the ratings here because I think they're only PG-13. Of course, this is an import, so it's 15. That's usually about the equivalent to PG-13. But yeah, so I got this a while back, this box set here, but yeah, I think they're only PG-13. Somebody correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. At least I know pretty sure the first 2 are. The third film actually has nothing really to do with the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
And outside of or in the US, it's not even called House 3, which is very confusing. It's called The Horror Show. And then we got House 4 out of nowhere, which actually has William Catt in it, but it only kind of subtly ties into the first film. It's really weird. So I can't really recommend 3 and 4, but House 1 and 2 are great. So yeah, do check those out if you get a chance. The first one is rated R. Okay, the second one I think is only PG-13 though. So I remember watching that when I was really young. My cousin let me watch it, and I'm like, there's no way she would let me watch it. Exactly. I was going to say, there's no way she'd let me watch it if it was rated R.
Oh,
so I was like, don't I have to see House 1?
Watch R.
And she's like, no, you don't have to see House 1 to see House 2. So there you go. All right. Anybody else got anything to say about House? Great fucking poster.
Yeah.
Those who have, I should show
that was a good poster.
People haven't seen
iconic.
The finger.
I'll show it here.
It is the first one on Andy's list that the spelling is correct.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah. Iconic.
Back when posters had like style. Didn't look like photoshopped menageries of people's faces.
I was expecting it to say horse and everybody be really confused.
All right, so let's keep on moving here. We've got, let's see, Gary, whose third pick is on somebody else's list. So we'll have to hold off until we come back around to it. See what it is.
I'm beginning to think Nine X's is the best movie ever made. It's everyone's favorite.
What's funny is my whole list is just full of X's. So,
yes.
So we'll come back around to my third pick here before we know it. And with that, I think that's time for our break. And I'm going to end our poll in the chat here in just a moment. If you haven't voted yet, please do for your favorite ghost. And then we're going to put up another one while we're giving you guys a chance to finish off your votes. We've got a couple of super chats here. Xian Hu or Xian Hu? Is that how you say that? Xian Hu?
Sure.
Xian, I think.
My favorite ghost is Captain Daniel Gregg from The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, which come up earlier. Not really a Halloween ghost, but still my favorite. It works. It's on somebody else's list, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Belle says, any Scooby-Doo on the list? No, didn't make anybody's list that I know of, but could have very well been on it. Jason Webster says, my top 5. Okay, so here's Jason Webster's top 5 for $10. Thank you so much. Coming out of Australia. Ain't it really like late there or early? What time would it be there? It's really late. Poltergeist, number 5. Number 4, The Shinnin. Number 3, Dark Water. Number 2, Ringu. And number 1, a tie with Gojiam, Haunted Asylum, and A Tale of Two Sisters.
That's cheating, Jason. You're getting 6 picks then.
I didn't do any ties this time.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 2003 version of A Tale of Two Sisters was about somebody who married 2 sisters and then got divorced, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was a divorce joke. Sorry about that.
Yes, I caught it.
No idea.
Thanks.
Isn't that one on some Pornhub or something? That movie?
I think so.
That's 2 sisters, 1 cup.
That's 2 stepsisters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Poll ended in the chat. Who is your favorite ghost? The choices were Casper, the Ghost of Christmas Past, Patrick Swayze, and the Amityville Pig, aka Jody. The list went in that order with 46% of the vote going to Casper. They love Casper. The Ghost of Christmas Past got 30%. Patrick Swayze got 18%, and the Amityville Pig got 5%.
Pig should have won.
Patrick Swayze is the only one that is an actual ghost now.
That's right.
Oh. I'd say too soon, but that was like 20 years ago almost.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been
at least 15.
That is not too soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
No, it was too soon the year he died when they said, what did Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson get for Christmas? And it was Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, yeah, I remember that. Goes all the way back. I could do Challenger's disaster jokes that were being told in high school the day it happened.
Oh, I know those ones.
Yeah, some of those, that was bad.
Yeah.
And just under the bell here, Southern Belle sends in, here you go. I hope Rebecca, 1940, made the list. Well, you'll have to wait and find out, Southern Belle. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. With that, let's keep on moving, because we're doing okay for time. We don't want to go too far over because Culture is streaming, and this is attached to his stream afterwards. So we encourage you guys to head on over there after the show, see what Culture is talking about. Yes, Southern Taco Bell. That's right, Rodimus Supreme.
That's
right. Back to our number 2, and a bunch of X's on Brian's list. Don't know what it could be.
I finally got an X's. Yes.
Number 2 on Scribe's list, Event Horizon.
Yeah, not exactly a haunted.
I know this
house
showed up on a
movie,
couple
but-
lists.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I think we talked about this on a previous stream, and so I don't know if I need to say too much about it. But it's similar to Hellraiser, just in its sort of uncomfortable nature of it, the harshness of the effects, the gore. I mean, there wasn't. I'm trying to, except for like the floating objects in space, the CGI was pretty much down to a minimum most of the time.
Right.
And so a lot of the effects and everything were just like flashes of things and very practical effects. Still just a great haunted house movie. And the acting, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better cast. I mean, it's amazing ensemble. And they also, even though each character didn't always have that much to do, they all just absolutely sold it. And I'll tell you what, Sam Neill as a crazy haunted ghost monster man. He just always is so good. Takes it so serious. I always look at this at Event Horizon and In the Mouth of Madness as like the Sam Neill duology you got to watch for horror. It's great.
Yeah. You know, you say when you picked Hellraiser and Event Horizon, I was looking at this list, and I agree with you. It makes me uncomfortable. There's a plausibility to both of these movies that it's just slightly out of reach, but it's not that far out of reach.
Yeah,
that's what makes it uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, that's one of the supposed classic rules of fiction is that you're allowed one fantastical element against reality, and as long as you have that one thing, but everything else is effectively rooted in something people can understand, that's what makes it relatable. It doesn't feel too out of place. You don't feel too detached from your own sort of, investing yourself in the story. And yeah, so Hellraiser, you've got this box that opens up the gate to hell. Otherwise, everything else operates on the temporal plane. Event Horizon, yeah, it's sci-fi, but otherwise everybody's trying to operate as professionals.
Center black hole in the back of the thing. You don't know what's going to happen because it defies the law of physics. And you're like,
exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, that one X factor to the whole thing, and then you can do whatever you want as long as everything else sort of. And the thing is, most of the characters, for the most part, behave like rational people throughout the movie. So it doesn't always feel like, oh, let's go into the basement by ourselves. No, Lawrence Fishburne, when it's like, we're getting the hell out of here. It's just like, we're out of here. Fuck this place, we're out. So that was
He pulled the Eddie Murphy.
He did.
I had originally thought of this one and then thought, no, it's possession, but no, it really isn't possession. It's it is Sam Neill's driven mad by what he sees. So
right, yeah. I thought about it myself for a second. I thought, was Sam Neill possessed? No, he just got pushed to the edge or turned into something else. Yeah, and everybody
else, right? It's a spaceship. It could
and similarly,
be a house.
I almost, instead of Event Horizon, I almost picked Flatliners, but that's not technically ghosts. That's sort of like guilt. And there wasn't, I was kind of on the edge, but either way.
I thought about that one.
Yeah. But the thing, the one thing about Hellraiser, you just said, but you pick one thing and then that's the good writing of the fiction. Hellraiser, for all the cheap it was made for, is still at its core a good story.
Right.
Right. And I think that's why all of us, when we think about it, horror films, whatever, Hellraiser is always up the top. Because it's still a good story. And Event Horizon the same way. It's still a good story.
Yeah, you don't have to have really complex or gory special effects as long as the effects are in the service to a good story. The story itself will hold up and probably do more work than any gallon of Karo syrup will do for a horror film because the implication versus what you're actually seeing most of the time.
Let the creators create. Yeah, that Hellraiser I think is a perfect example of what you can do if you take all the good elements of what a movie could be, what the creators can do with that, and release it, right? It just, yes, it's a horror film. It's not for everybody, but it's on everybody's list for a reason. So.
Yep. There you go. Event Horizon. If you haven't seen Event Horizon, definitely see it.
Go see Event Horizon.
Yeah, Event Horizon is great.
I saw it
just
7
not do it at
times
night.
in the theater.
7 times? Oh, wow.
Yeah. We
I saw
kept
the theater
going.
was great.
Yeah. We used to take different dates every night, me and my buddy, because we knew what was going on in the movie, and we scared the hell out of him. It was great.
Saw it in the theater, still love it. Still watch it multiple times a year. One of the best movies ever made.
The 4K.
And the 4K is beautiful. Yes. And
I
have
the
the
director's
cut.
cut. I wish we had the director's cut. We'll never find it.
Steelbook.
The eyes have it.
Oh, God.
They keep saying there's no director's cut out there.
The footage was lost. It was before the director's commentary and DVD, just on the cusp, so they never had any reason to apparently keep the footage, which is weird to me because they still found lost footage to movies way older than this one.
It'll show up in somebody's garage or in somebody's vault somewhere.
One can hope, yeah.
One can hope, yeah. I was gonna say this was on other people's list tonight, wasn't it? So this, was this anybody's ex's? I thought it was.
I think so. Let me go look.
I thought so, but I guess not. Okay, well, nobody spoke up, so I guess
no, it's not.
All right. It was just a repeat from last week, that's why. All right, keep moving on. Toxie has the Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Right, so this is one of my favorite films of all time. Don Knotts.
It's in the intro.
Yeah, I saw that. I was very happy about that.
I love Don Knotts. Yes,
Don Knotts is a hilariously funny man. Apple Dumpling Gang with him and Tim Conway was a movie I watched as a child.
Incredible
Just made me
Mr.
laugh.
Limpet.
All of that stuff. And The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Definitely one of those good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look on IMDb, this thing is a 7.9, and
That's
it's
pretty good for IMDb, actually.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So the Joan Slately is just really great against Don Knotts inside it. There's just so many good, and Dick Sargent's in this as well, one of the Darrens. It's 90 minutes. It was done in 1966. This was the year my parents got married. It was one of the movies that they went to go see in theater, and they showed us on Halloween and stuff as a family memory from there. And it's a comedy, but there was a lot of those, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, the Three Stooges meet all that stuff, all of those films. Go see them. They're out there. They're on Plex. They're on Tubi. They're all free. You're sitting there saying there's nothing to watch. Yes, there is. You just go out, pick one of these, Ghost of Mr. Chicken, 90 minutes, go watch it. It's a heck of a lot better.
This movie. So
Say what's
that?
I said he was conceived to this movie. So
he pretty much was.
His
we
parents
know.
got married
born
that year.
for
They
this.
loved it. They went to go see it. They went home and they made me. All right.
Or one of your older siblings, anyway, if you have any.
So they played the Ghost and Mrs. Chicken. Yes, there, hide the chicken. Hide the cock.
See where I went there.
Nah,
What?
it's all right. I did.
the cock.
the
Oh
cock.
my god, the cock. Oh my god, the cock. Oh my god.
All right, that's that's enough.
Yes.
Bitch,
Even when
yes,
Culture's
bitch, you are
not here,
correct.
he's still here.
He's still here. I made Valiant go away, just
In
like Culture.
spirit.
You know, and
We are your
I think-
friends, Valiant.
And I think Don Knotts is
Feeling
a
this something
comedy
like that.
genius who has kind of been left behind.
Yes,
You guys know
yes.
what I mean?
Jerry Lewis, Don Knotts, Tim Conway, Carol Burnett. I mean,
Introduce your kids to these guys. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Knotts is hilarious. And
Yeah.
you're looking for a family friendly film that you know that your kids under 5 or 6 can watch, and 5, 6, 10. It's, the Apple Dumpling Gang is great.
There you
So,
go.
Yeah, great. Back when Disney used to make good films.
Huh. Long time ago.
Back
Right?
before Bob and Kathleen.
Burnt it all down with gasoline.
Hey-o.
Andrew
Walt
just keeps having some net issues here, buddy. What's up?
Must be a ghost.
It's a
He's,
go.
doing,
Must be a
he's
ghost
doing
in the
the old
movie.
in and out. The old in and out.
Wait,
Culture's
which
big
one's the evil
television.
twin?
Yeah, which one's the evil twin? We got 2 Andrews in the chat now. That's weird.
Uh-oh.
One's a ghost.
Ooh, a digital
of
ghost.
Andrew. The ghost of Andrew. Right there. See? Andy.
Frozen in time.
Andy. And it's gone forever. All right. So keep moving on. Bromble. This was my number 5.
Yeah. Well, then go ahead and start since you didn't get to talk about it back at number 5.
The Amityville Horror is one of those movies. Do I believe what happened in it? Fuck no. It has been proven wrong by several witnesses and people throughout the years that
Hashtag their truth, Tom. Jeez.
yeah, that basically George Lutz was full of shit and trying to sell this idea. And if you watch the movie, some of the shit don't make sense in retrospect. You're just kind of like, yeah, that don't make sense unless you're just making shit up. But at the end of the day, as far as haunted house movies go, you cannot deny the impact the film and also the book had on horror films and ghost stories, and the idea of just this, entity could live in this place and cause somebody to go crazy and insane and kill their family. It's just a scary kind of concept. So overall, as a movie, it works, right? Like I'm not going to knock it as a film. As a film, definitely at least a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Great cast. You've got Josh Brolin's dad. What's his name? James Brolin, and you got Margot Kidder getting paid probably more than James did in this movie, from what I remember, because she was hot off of Superman and she demanded, I think, like $1 million at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a great score by Schifrin, wasn't it? Layla Schifrin, or however you say his name. And
Heck of a marketing campaign for this movie too.
Get out! Rod Sturgis plays the priest.
Rod Stewart plays the priest.
Yeah, or wait, what's his name? Rod Steiger. Rod Steiger. What did I say?
Rod Stewart.
No, that hair. That was the porn version.
Yeah,
I'm sexy.
I'm making my way through the band.
Yeah, I'd say it's just a classic, and I even like the 2005 version with Ryan Reynolds because I like most anything with Ryan Reynolds in it, and it kind of showed off a little bit different Ryan Reynolds. That one had Chloe Grace Moretz as well and Melissa George, but not as good as the original, but still not as bad as some of the remakes we're getting now.
The thing I'll give the original compared to the remake compared to the original, because I dislike it all around outside of one thing, and it's funny you brought up Ryan Reynolds. Because in his performance, it's a little bit more, you can kind of see the transition a little bit more than James's performance, because his is a little bit more subtle, as opposed to where Ryan is like off the bat, he's like, you can see why these kids love this guy. You can see why she's in love with this guy, to the point where when his changes start to come in, especially when he yells at that one kid in one scene, that kind of shows you the one bit. And, so with him and his performance, yes, I agree.
Right.
That is the highlight of the remake. Other than that, I cannot recommend the remake at all, because it's like shit compared to the original. The only other good thing the remake has going for it is they did the same story in 90 minutes.
Right. Yeah, and I just like Ryan Reynolds movies, so but yeah, both versions I've watched multiple times. It's just one of those that, the based on a true story thing, based on a true story book, and yeah, most of what Tom said I agree with completely. Yeah, it's one of those classics. It gets parodied and satired all the time.
That
We've seen it pop up in The Simpsons and all kinds of stuff.
That was a big deal when that book came out. Everybody was all buzz about that. It was the 70s were kind of like that with a lot of paranormal stuff. Like, kind of being.
Well,
like,
it was sold on the gimmick of being a true story too, right? Like,
well, paranormal and the sci-fi abduction stuff from Alien stuff.
Yeah, well, the true story behind it is horrible enough. The guy that killed his own family and everything. I mean, there's actually a true story that if they'd done a movie about that would have been terrible enough. But
well, they did. It's funny you ask, and that goes right into Brian's question here. What do I think of the Amityville sequels? Well, the second film is not that horrible. The second film is a fictionalized version of the DeFeo murders, which was the incident that happened before the Amityville Horror. Right. Part 3 is meh-ish. It's got a young Meg Ryan and Lori Loughlin in it, though. And
but the 34th remake, Tom, come on.
Look, at this point, great, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding in the polls when I said 1 through 35. There are no less than 35 movies after the original film that have nothing to do with the original series, but have Amityville in the title.
Yeah.
There's actually, I think, 9 or 10 films that are technically connected with the original film. But overall, there's like 30 some sequels.
There's even a hockey film, the Amityville Goonskis. It's about a very, very low level minor league hockey
It's one of the
team.
most overused.
So the Chicago
names.
Blackhawks then.
Exactly. God, we
So
suck.
yeah, outside of those first few sequels, I can't really speak to them because I haven't seen them. The only one I don't think we have got is Amityville in Space yet.
Yeah.
So shouldn't they have named the Ryan Reynolds one the Amityville Horror?
Oh man, where is it? There it is. Oh,
poor Andy and his internet tonight, man. He popped in and he just popped right back out. It was really crazy. All right.
you know what? You know why?
There he is
Andy's carving a head of Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
Real
stop
quick,
it.
this was
There
another
he
one
goes.
that was part of the Ed and Lorraine Warren, they investigated the Amityville thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's who went on to do, Annabelle, The Conjuring, all those
And
stories.
I think part 3 is the characters that are in part 3 are kind of sort of loosely based on them at first. I know most people are like, what the fuck do you care about Amityville 3? Well, see, that was one of the 3D movies of 1983, remember? So that's why it's more prestigious. And it's not a horrible ass story. It's actually the whole idea is set up that it starts out that these guys that are renting the Amityville house are like putting on these ghost shows for people, right? Like they're pretending to be mediums, and they get busted by I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He was in MASH. Shit. Trying to remember the fucker's name.
McLean
But anyway,
Stevenson?
is that who it is? No. Is it?
Alan Alda.
No. One of the other guys. But anyway, he's like this.
Gary
No.
Radar.
Somebody will tell me in the chat. I'm probably wrong anyway.
Start
But,
naming everybody in MASH.
Even
Yeah,
if
they'll
Eric
start naming
goes,
everybody.
Alan Alda?
Are we talking the
No.
movie or the TV show?
No. That's what I think is the TV show.
Elliot
he was on.
Gould? Because if it's a movie, yeah.
No, wait.
Gould,
I need to
Donald
look now. I'm
Sutherland.
going to be sitting here forever otherwise.
That's a
Robert
movie
Duvall?
I really
Robert
enjoyed.
Duvall?
You know, we need to do best war comedy films.
Tony Roberts.
We do.
I was probably
Tony
wrong.
Roberts, okay.
Best
Oh,
war
Tony
comedy
Roberts.
films would be a great.
Anyway, so he works
No,
with this,
Hot Lips
like
was great.
as a reporter or something like that, and they bust these guys, and then he's like talking to the landlord. He's like, the landlord's like, I had no idea that these people were using this house for shit like that. And he's like, bullshit, you didn't. He's like, but anyway, what do you want for the house? He's like, I bet you could get, I can't believe you'd be selling it for very much. He's like, I can get it for you for a steal, basically. So he buys the house as a skeptic, right? Like that's kind of the whole setup of the third film, which I kind of like, is that this guy buys it. He doesn't believe in this shit, but shit keeps happening. And his excuse is things happen because they happen normally. And you guys are just associating it with the house, and stuff like that. And it kind of builds up to the whole horror aspect of it. It doesn't go too overboard. But after that, I could give a shit about the rest of the sequels. I don't even remember them. I think I tried watching the fourth and fifth one, and I just don't even remember.
Now, just think if Tom had talked this long about this film at number 5.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is normally
told
what
him, go-
happens.
Exactly, because Tom knows so much about these films.
Andy is back. So while he's here, he didn't get his number 2 in because it's on somebody else's list.
Right when I wanted to say one very important thing. Amity, as you know, means friendship.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Friendship film.
Yes. A whole nother Amityville horror.
And you'll
Amity
believe that
Island
until
horror.
it swims up and bites you on the ass.
That's right. Those proportions are correct.
That's what my wife says.
Yes, she thinks. Gary brings us some burnt offerings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one's really scary. The scariest part to me is Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed was terrifying to me as a child. I think the first thing I saw him in was Condor Man, another Disney clamshell movie that I was allowed to watch when I was a kid. But there's some really scary stuff in Burnt Offerings. If you guys haven't seen it, it stars Karen Black, Oliver Reed, and I believe it's Betty Davis. Am I correct, guys?
I think
Is that right?
I think so.
Betty Davis
I think
thighs.
so.
Yeah, and it's got a guest appearance by Anthony James, who was the bartender or the brothel keeper in Unforgiven. And he plays this hearse driver, and he keeps like showing up in these waking nightmares that Oliver Reed has. And those are the most terrifying scenes in the movie. But if you guys haven't seen Burnt Offerings, go check it out. It was produced by Dan Curtis, I believe, who
That is
gave
correct.
us Dark Shadows and Jack Palance's Dracula.
And Karen
So-
Black in it. Wow.
Yeah, Karen Black. is
Oh,
in
Oliver
it.
Reed. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, because this is
It's
about when he
very-
was Clockwork Orange and all that
It's
stuff.
a very, very, very scary movie. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
You're right. Betty Davis is in it, along with Burgess Meredith.
Burgess
Meredith.
is in it too. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Oliver Reed. Really great talent.
There's nothing scarier than Oliver Reed in real life drunk.
Yep. Yep.
That guy was a bit impressive, an impressive drunk.
Yeah.
That's a film. I'm gonna have to. I think I remember seeing that.
It's disturbing.
It's in-
Very disturbing.
Good choice. Right, yeah, good one.
Yeah.
It's one of these ones I forget about. I forgot about that movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is really good. Yeah, thanks for.
You know what's
for bringing it
interesting
up.
is it's shot in the same house that they shot Phantasm at.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
same location.
Wow.
And numerous other films, including A View to a Kill, and a couple other movies, I'm sure, but same house.
That's ironic because the kid in Phantasm had a view to a kill.
Oh, Dunsmuir.
Wow. Okay. Right.
Dunsmuir House. Okay.
That's right. Tom, you deserve this.
That was like really deep cut.
It's
Levels
even worse.
and layers.
And layered.
So I Married an Axe Murderer was filmed there too.
Harriet. Hard-hearted Harriet.
Woman. Whoa,
Whoa, man.
Oh, Tom,
Tons
you've
of
got all
X's.
Whoa, man.
X's and O's.
That's the
No.
latest Fast and Furious movie, is it?
It is.
There are 10 X's because of the last Fast and Furious movie. Way to go, 70s. You picked.
I was wondering about that the whole time.
Why are there 10? I'm like, oh, you know what? Fast 10. No.
Yeah, it just struck me that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an idiot that way. At least I spelled Tom right. Brumble. I'm going to be using that one for a while. Brumble.
So Tom still doesn't get to talk about
It's all right.
the movie on his list.
It's just his show.
Brian brings us his number one pick here. Or what
Yeah,
happened?
old school. The Haunting, the 1963 Robert.
Oh, we forgot to
Wise
pause. That's my fault, but that's all
movie.
right. Keep going.
Oh, we're going to pause. That's all right. We
no,
can pause
keep
this.
going.
This was my
We're gonna
number
keep
one,
going.
too.
Possibly the very
going.
definition of a haunted house movie. Filmed at Ettington Park, where they also filmed The Watcher in the Woods, if we're talking about places that are more, and reputedly haunted in real life, Ettington Park. This is one of these rightly celebrated, I think, older movies, not just faux celebrated. It's exceptionally creepy in tremendous sets. The use of the camera in it makes everything seem really distorted, scary angles, and it's like one of these psychologically terrifying movies.
There's not much blood in it. Right?
No.
I had this as my number one as well.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm not a big blood gore guy.
No.
I like the psychological stuff and the creepy stuff, the thing you can't see.
I agree.
When the the walls start breathing.
Yes, that was
scared the crap out of
and
me.
I saw it like it was
Camera
about
angles.
10.
And
I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, they didn't really
scared
do. There was a few jump scares, but it's really that suspense. So you've got the actors, the camera angles, the small special effects, and the music really nails this film.
Yeah, the
it's great.
sets and the camera work and just the
Just
tension.
amazing.
Psychologically horrifying. Yeah, the walls thing, though, that scared the shit out of me. I was about 10 when I saw it for the first time in the 70s, and oh my God. I couldn't go inside a house for years after that.
Oh, it scared me to death.
Yeah.
It's just.
And the noises and the sounds, banging noises. And
This is one of those movies that I saw on Friday nights. The local ABC affiliate where I grew up, they would do Star Trek, and then they would do a Sherlock Holmes, or they would do a couple of Perry Mason's episodes, and then they would do the Plenty Scary movie, and Dracula, and Godzilla, and all this stuff come on. This movie came on, and I was watching it, and I get about 3/4 of the way through, and my dad comes in, and he looks at he's like, "Oh crap!" And then we need to turn this off before your mom comes in. Because they knew what this movie was, and I was like 9, and they're like, "No."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see a film like this at that age, it's just scare you. And I think the word I've seen mentioned very often is malevolent.
Yes, this is a very. So when we talk about the ghosts being malevolent or benevolent, this is a very much malevolent.
Malevolent, yeah. They're just,
malevolent or whatever. The ghost, you knew that it was out to get you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't talk or spell.
It's fabulous. I mean, made long before the time of somebody said in the chat, there ain't no CGI in this. It's all camera effects and other practical things, and the sets just incredible. So
and Claire Bloom in this film, oh my God.
Yeah.
That just So and produced by Robert Wise, who also produced that Robert Wise, Star Trek.
Yeah.
So
best film editing for Citizen Kane. So you can
right.
tell it's a well-filmed movie.
That's why you can tell people who really know what they're doing, the story and all that when it comes together.
But it's funny that he did West Side Story and Sound of Music as well. See, I think they could have crossed the Sound of Music and The Haunting. That would have been a brilliant movie. But
that would have been great. Well, they kind of sort of did. I think that was Disney's live-action Little Mermaid, but I'm not 100% sure. Hey.
Anyway, that's my top choice, I'd say, for Haunted.
Well, that was my number one too, so you can skip over me when I get to there. But Brian, you have excellent taste. That's all I'm saying.
So do you, sir.
Yeah, especially
You
in
old
mud.
boomers.
That's right.
So do you. Anyway.
Kiss the ass.
Enough.
Yeah, it's older. Or maybe a lot of people might not be aware of this because it's a little before their time. So,
Well, you know what they do now.
Yeah.
Put another gay diverse woman in it. Make it more fucking lame.
Make it so lame. Make it so fucking lame.
God. When Trey Parker and Matt Stone are on, there's nothing better. Jeez. That was
Amen.
good. Yep. You
All
okay there,
right.
Tom?
Cool.
Yeah, I was taking a drink. We got Scribe Light with his number 1, The Shinin, which was also on my
Shinin.
list at number 2.
And on mine at number
Gonna
3.
get sued, boy.
Yeah,
Yep, that
haunted
was on
house
the 3
movies.
list, I think, right?
And Brahma's
I
number
would-
3. Brambles.
Rumbles number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can talk about haunted house movies without talking about The Shining. I don't know if there's anything I could say that hasn't been said, resaid, restated, theorized, red strings on corkboard about this movie. But the best thing I think, I wish I could go back and watch it without any expectation or knowledge previously of it and just watch it flat, because I think I would enjoy it a lot more. But it is the quintessential haunted house movie. I think the only flaw, maybe the only flaw, like you were talking earlier about Ryan Reynolds, how he starts out as a really like amiable guy, and you can see that change, and it's very noticeable, and it really is jarring when it happens. Jack Nicholson always looks like a danger. Even when he's being nice, he always looks dangerous. And I realize that is part of the character, the way they set it up.
I was going to say that kind of plays into the part of, is it really him or is it really this place?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's kind of like, okay, is it the
So I think if you had him a
alcoholism?
little bit too the other way, you could have been, a little bit more. Oh, it's definitely this place.
Wait.
Like if you had Ryan Reynolds make it
Yeah.
now, yeah.
I guess,
Scribe, we all know it's Jack Nicholson's not the villain; it's his wife.
Right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
She's
I
a
love that
psychotic
theory.
nagging him.
I love that theory. How it's all Wendy's fault. Yeah, everything is Wendy's fault. It's actually not the house. She's the one
No,
doing all the
it's-
problems.
All work and no play.
Yeah,
Theory.
it's all her. Yeah, but no, I mean, watch any documentary or something about the movie and all the different things. The fact that people are still trying to figure this thing out all these years later, and it's still, and even if you set all that aside, just watch it flat. It is so disturbing. You've got this giant hotel, but the whole movie feels claustrophobic, right? It feels like something's impending doom the whole time, and it's just I don't know what to say. It's just amazing, and you go on forever about it.
I think there's something very scary about an empty building, though, a large empty building. Like if it's full of people, there's nothing scary about that. There's people around every corner. Empty. Ooh.
And the ambiguity. One of the best things about this movie is that it doesn't explain everything to you. It leaves plenty to the imagination. Even though it shows you a lot and it tells you a lot of different things, it doesn't give you a straight out answer. Now, some people find that frustrating, where it's like, well, then what, this and that and the other? What does the picture mean at the end? Fill in the blank with your imagination. That's what makes it so disturbing and so memorable to me.
I didn't realize that this was actually a ghost movie until the picture at the end. See, that's where,
Is it? Or is it reincarnation?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's all kinds
Something
of crazy
different.
things you can talk about with it. And
Yeah.
Brahma, you had it on your list as well.
Yeah, my top 3 all have something in common, in that it's basically somebody being driven mad. So I mean, those are what make good haunting movies to me. Is it's not like overtly you're possessed. It's something just ends up driving you insane, and then something goes crazy. So, yeah,
Trying to tell us something, Rumble?
yes.
Okay.
When something happens in my house, this is what we're blaming it on.
Not the alcohol, like Jack Nicholson.
Right.
Got Hillary. That's right.
Pay no attention to the gigantic bar behind me. No, Shining's a great movie. I mean, I didn't put it up at number 1 or 2 just because I love the movie, but it also bores the hell out of me for most of the movie. So, so that's why it's where it is.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I watch it. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, this movie, to me, I have the opposite effect. Even though a lot doesn't really happen until the end, it does not feel like it's 2 hours long to me. like once the things start ramping up in that last quarter, it just feels like we built because that's just Kubrick, right? He's just and you know, it's a subjective thing, obviously, but to me personally, I just feel like Kubrick builds up to that so well. And again, I know this is the unpopular opinion among some folks, especially probably Daryl Brewer in the chat, who I just posted on screen, said flat out that the movie was kind of ruined for him at the beginning because he read the book. There's a big debate on what's better, the book or the movie, because Stephen King traditionally has said he did not like the movie. Well, what's funny is I say the movie is better, and why is the proof in the pudding? The proof in the pudding is in the sequel. He had to write a sequel that basically tied into a movie, really, if you think about it, because you watch that movie too, it's a sequel to that original film, right? It's not a sequel to the book, because that's the thing. Kubrick was making this strange kind of, all the questions that we're having right now, that's exactly what Kubrick has wanted all these years. He wanted you to sit there and ask those questions. Was it the alcohol? Was it him? Was it the place? Was it this? Was it that? Was it her? You know, like that's the thing that he wanted us to do. And in Stephen King's book, he's like, no, I specifically say it's this and it's blah, 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 you know? And it's like, well, yeah, but your book is kind of boring. And that's the way I feel about the book, Brahma. Like the book to me, it just drags the fuck on. It's such a long read that I have not read it since high school. So like that's where I just like I read it once and I'm like, no, I don't never read that again. I'll just watch the movie.
I would say when I made my daughters watch it when they were 18 and 13, yeah, they were bored out of their minds the whole time. They did not get the movie at all. So it may just be one of those that it works for certain generations, and it's just not enough going on to keep
Jack
the attention
Nicholson
of the
is a big
TikTok
part
generation.
of that too. That could be, because to me that's why, because Jack is just one of those actors I can watch him do damn near anything. I mean, he's been in shit ass movies, but I can still watch him, you know.
So this is one of those movies, kind of like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Okay, you have to have an imagination to watch the film, right? And so when you read a book, you have to imagine things, because the author isn't going to be able to explain every single detail that's there. But you find a favorite book, you read it multiple times, you add more details and things into your head, and then when you see it on screen, maybe it's the same, maybe it's not. But these movies are that way. You came up with people who were doing more reading than they were watching movies. Now you have people that are doing more watching than reading. So they have to be led down a path with action and stuff every single time to get the dopamine hit from the watching of something, as opposed to sitting there and trying to figure out yourself. You know, there's more work involved mentally in watching something like The Shining as opposed to watching a hack and slash film, right? And stuff from there. And sometimes you need to watch the hack and slash and you're just trying to just get entertained. And sometimes you go to The Shining, something like that, you've got to think, what the heck's going on? What else is around the corner? The Haunting is one of those, you know, kind of
The one thing I will agree with some of the detractors is, yeah, they do kill what's his face,
Well, they kill Scatman Crothers in the movie.
For no real good reason other than they had to have something happen.
I hated
Like
that.
immediately upon re-entry.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, weird.
What was the point of his character going up to the hotel?
True.
And all that. I mean,
and I didn't even really think about that till one of you guys had brought it up on one of our previous shows.
I mentioned it, I think, last time. It always bugged me. That really bugged me.
I mean, it did, but it didn't. It was like, okay. But now I guess
nothing.
thinking about it, when you said that, I was like, yeah, you know, you're kind of right.
If he at least achieved something, all you could say was he distracted Jack Nicholson briefly.
No, I always saw it as like a false, like an unfulfilled hope. Like he was he could be the rescuer. Like he gave the audience.
That's kind of the way I always saw it.
Coming in, but then you know the house always wins, and so Jack kills him, and then that's taken away immediately. So I always thought it was kind of a twist that he was going to come in and be the hero, and then nope, sorry, and from there you don't know what's going to happen because everybody is vulnerable. If you thought this guy was going to be the savior,
so it was basically a gambling film. The house always wins.
He's also the character that develops that the Shine is an actual thing, because if it's only Danny that has it, then it's all crazy Danny. It's not somebody else also has this ability.
Right.
That's true. But then why didn't he see that coming?
I just thought it was a bit brutally unnecessary, but that's just me.
I got you, Brian.
Well, it was also Scatman Carruthers. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Hong Kong Phooey.
Oh,
That's
all
right.
in one.
Number one super gang.
Number one on Toxic Fan Flu's list, as he already brought up, The Haunting.
That's right.
And then we've got Bramble with
Yep, another Stephen King
1408
one.
at number one. Sticking it, isn't Stephen King one
That
too?
was
isn't
a
it?
fun one.
Yeah, I love this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about it on multiple lists now, but as much as I hate John Cusack now, I still love this movie. I love the use of the Carpenters. We've only just begun as the kind of thing that is the shock value in the movie. It's not jump scares like normal. They literally use an alarm clock radio, just playing the same song over and over, and it starts to drive you mad, kind of like it starts to drive the character mad. It's also got Samuel L. Jackson in it. That's always a plus. And yeah, just the way they handled it, it was one of the better Stephen King movies. And I watch it every time I see it on. I'll sit down and watch it. So
I'm with you on that
movie.
one.
I know Tom hates John Cusack too. So
Well, I hate him now, just like you. I used to be a fan. This was not one I was always a huge fan of, but I remember it being one of the better ones, like you said. But it's not one that I think, if I recall, I don't even know if I still have the DVD of it anymore. But I don't even know if it's in my collection. I'd have to look. I don't think it is. But it's one I should probably revisit.
yeah,
I just remember not liking
especially
the
being a
ending.
lover of music. I mean, you gotta love the way the Carpenters are used in it. So.
Yeah. I just remember not liking the ending. That was the part that bothered me. But I get it muddled
Twist
with
part.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I was remembering like I didn't care for it. But I'll have to go back and watch it again.
Well, there's two different endings, isn't there? Like an American one and a theatrical, or like a director's cut one. Like there's one of them that's much better than the one they put in the theater. I think it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I only know of one ending, so but it's also a twist, so I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
Andy, were you saying something, or who was?
There's 4 endings to it.
4 endings.
Oh wow, like Clue. Oh.
Well, that was only 3 endings on Clue, but we'll take it.
Well, we'll take a break here quick, and we're
Felt
gonna
like 4.
We're gonna end our poll in just a moment. If you guys haven't voted, vote now, and we'll do some super chats while you guys finish up your votes. Eric K says best Ghost sequel, Ghostbusters 2. Well, that was on my original list, but it got bumped off when we were arguing about what kind of list this was going to be. Stitch says has been fun. Thanks to all of you and chat. Well, thank you, Stitch. Hopefully you get to see you next time. I guess you had to take off. Hopefully you heard us say at least thank you for the super chat. Michael Beacom says top haunted house movie, ghost movie, The Changeling with George C. Scott. I just got the 4K of that. I haven't watched it yet though. So yeah. And then Jason Webster says Stephen King's novel The Shining was published in 1977. It has 447 pages in length. It's true.
Still have it.
Jean Hu says House 1977 by Nobuhiko Obayashi. Ugh, I can't talk. Now this is one I've been wanting to see for a while and have never gotten a chance to see yet. This is the other House movie.
Right. This is a good one. I think you'll enjoy it, Tom. If you get some.
You were close on the name. Obuhiko Obayashi.
Obihiko Obayashi.
Wow. Well, yeah, now we got the real learned guy on the panel, knows how to talk and spell and all that crap.
Yeah.
Let me get 2 more brandies. That'll change.
Right.
It's
We ended our
Valiant
poll.
Renegade.
The question was best ghost franchise sequels: Poltergeist, Hellraiser, Candyman, or Amityville. And the winner was Poltergeist 2 and 3 with 42% of the vote.
Hoorah! That was my vote.
Hellraiser 2 through whatever the hell they're on anymore at 38%. Candyman 2 through 4 got 10% of the vote. And Amityville 2 through 35 got 8%.
I can't believe Amityville 34 didn't carry it.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking.
Wasn't there just a new Hellraiser like this year?
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure if there was 9 or 10. I was trying to count them in my head and I couldn't remember fast enough. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to put a question mark.
Was it worth watching at all?
And Mizu was wondering what we thought of the miniseries of The Shining before. I had never seen it, so I can't really comment on it. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, I saw it back. I saw it when it was first broadcast, and it was ABC, I believe it was, and Steven Weber was playing Jack Torrance, and it wasn't that great. Honestly,
I avoided a lot
closer
of
to the
doors.
book story, but that's not all I
and it
can
didn't
say
work.
about it.
ABC tried to recapture the same lightning in a bottle that they did 30 years before that when they did it.
Yeah,
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they do Rose
just
Red
remember-
too? Wasn't ABC also Rose
Shocking
Red? I
ABC
can't
did something that didn't work.
Well, it was a phenomenon. That's the thing, and it's still one of the most. I would argue, if I remember right, reading somewhere, it was one of the biggest TV movies aside from Roots, as far as being resold on video over and over again to this day. I would imagine it's probably up there, but still more popular than the remakes. Anyway, moving on. We've got Andy next with Ghost Story.
Yeah, my favorite ghost story.
Yeah.
This thing's just creepy from beginning to end.
It's not just a clever name.
Yeah, it is. It's very disturbing. And Alice Krieg or Krieg, however you pronounce her name, she's really she's got an interesting look to her. Sometimes she's really pretty, and sometimes she's kind of a little scary looking. But this, she's very, very lovely, and the mix of John Houseman, Don Amici, Fred Astaire, and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. The parts they play in this, and like in their performances as the older men who are bothered by something. It's very very creepy. Is probably the best way I can describe it. And if you want to see a really good Halloween movie, I'd recommend this one.
Yeah,
And don't forget the great John Houseman that was in that.
This was my number 3 as well.
As I say, it was on your list too, Gary.
Yeah, this is a real scary movie. And it's from the title you're like, what, really? But it's really, really good. Great cast. Just a well done movie. Albert Whitlock did the effects. He used to do all the effects for Alfred Hitchcock, matte paintings and stuff like that. Very, very terrifying. Alice Krieg or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the scariest part of this movie is when she's taking a bath with the main character who she's dating, and she kind of dunks underwater, and she's sitting under there, and the guy's like waiting for her to come up, and she just jumps up screaming, and it's fucking. It's terrifying. It's really, really like unsettling and very disturbing.
So I do love this movie, and I almost put it on my list, but I'm a huge fan of the book, the Peter Straub book. I don't know if you guys, how you feel it compares to
What's
the
a
movie.
book?
I can't read, so I watched the movie.
A novel.
Gary can't read.
A novel? Was that a virus? I don't get it.
A book. A book.
A book.
Is that a book written by Broomaboo?
Anyway,
you read it. You use it for corporal punishment.
I don't know. I'm sure others have read the book.
Now he's too scared to say it.
I'm in his
He
bed.
messed him up. Wait, you want to know what's the craziest part about Ghost Story? Is that what do we talk about, Tom, all the time? We talk about box office and like horror movies and what they spend nowadays. Like, what's the average expenditure on a horror movie film in this decade? 10, 15 million?
When year did this come out?
No, this decade, right now, 2023.
Oh, right now, anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40 million, depending on the movie.
If not even that, I mean, most of the time, like the Blumhouse stuff is like in the 20 million range.
Some of that kind of stuff is even cheaper than that. But like
when they shot this movie between 79 and 80, Ghost Story's budget, what they spent to film this, $13.5 million.
Jesus, that's kind of high budget.
That is a massive. That is like a freaking Marvel level budget today, kind of thing.
In comparison, like movies like Friday the 13th would usually between like 1, 2, 3 million.
A million for Friday the 13th. This was
some of the sequels were a couple million, but yeah.
Look at the talent they had. You talk about Fred Astaire, talk about John Houseman, Douglas Fairbanks, the talent they had in this movie. They put this together. I mean, $13 million for a horror film that came out in 1981 is staggeringly high for a budget. That is just it blows my mind.
1941,
1981.
1981. Okay, I'm gonna go see what that is in today's dollars.
Well, it's hard to use the CPI because the budgets for these things have inflated drastically beyond them. But I mean, it's substantially more, and that's why we're saying is like $13.5 million.
The truth on their budget these days.
Okay, Five Nights at Freddy's just came out. They spent $20 million on that. This is 40 years ago. They spent 13 and a half. This is a bonkers
That's
budget
quite a
for a
bit.
horror film.
The average budget back
The
then.
average
for
Blumhouse budget is like 20 million for
well,
Blumhouse
just so people
film
know,
now.
like like in '81, like your average budget for a big Hollywood picture was like $15 to $25 million.
Yes.
So
That's
like
a
this is
Marvel budget
quite a
today.
bit to be spending on just a little horror movie.
That's huge for a horror movie. Even
Sounds
by
like a
today's
lot of it went to the cast though.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, that's what made the movie what it was, because of that cast, that amazing cast.
Fun fact, I discovered recently I had a relative who appeared in a movie with Douglas Fairbanks Jr., which I didn't know about. So there you go. Fun fact.
Very cool. Was he also in a book?
He was in a he wrote a few books, but
Did he wear boots?
you're all bigots. You're all
He really
bigots.
I think you're looking.
We
for
hate
xenophobe
Scottish
as
people.
Did he
All right.
wear welly boots as well?
Is there anywhere his boots to read his
Yeah,
boots?
I discovered he was in all sorts of movies, including stuff with Douglas Fairbanks Jr.
Awesome.
and Betty Grable. So, yeah.
I need you to go to San Francisco and say you're looking for the nuclear vessels.
Wessels.
Nuclear.
It's in Alameda. That's what I said.
And Toxic Man Flu did the calculations. That's like a $60 million budget today. But I think like Valiant was saying, like you'd have to
That's
change.
just straight inflation.
That's just
all that
straight
is.
inflation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
so
basic CPI.
It's
So
probably
the
closer to
real
like
cost.
$80 to $100 million by
I'd
today's
say
standards,
easy over 100 million.
Salary
today.
inflation and all the kind of
Considering
things.
like
that happen
ET,
there.
I think costs like 20 or 30 to make.
Well, you need like 400,000 people to make a film these days.
I know
Yes,
Star Wars
yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, which came out the year before, I think had a budget of about 30 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For instance.
And this one
So,
was
yeah.
what, how much
That
was
went
this
over
budget again?
13.
Yeah,
13?
Empire today would be easily close to 400 million to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
when
'cause
you,
it went
when you
over
really
budget at
scale it
that
up
time.
correctly, yeah.
Hey, that's
'Cause it
Marvel's money you're talking about right there.
Because
Exactly.
the original Star Wars, I think, was between
And
12
Empire
and
didn't
15.
suck.
That's right.
And Empire cost
if you
35. to make,
reverse
I think.
inflation, Marvels will make money. So if you go back
If
to
you only reverse
$19-20,
inflation on the cost of production.
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, we got to keep going. Our culture's going to kill us here. Gary has his number one, which is also on my list. So go ahead, Gary, with Poltergeist.
Well, you know, it's kind of the stereotypical choice, but it was definitely the most influence to me, especially when I was younger. I actually lived in near Simi Valley where the house was, so we used to go there all the time and check out where they shot
cool.
it and E.T. But yeah, I really like Poltergeist. I know it has a really chaotic making of and behind the scenes and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's still a question as to who the hell was directing the movie. But yeah, this one's the one that sticks with me. I even love the second one. I think the priest Kane is that guy's scary. That guy is really terrifying. But yeah, the score's great.
Die.
The score is great. Jerry Goldsmith's score is fantastic. The cast is great. The family has such a great dynamic, and it was a brand new house. Go figure. It was like the inversion of the classic haunted house story. It was a brand new track home.
In the suburbs.
Yeah, and it was also loosely based on an episode of The Twilight Zone called Little Girl Lost, where this little girl was lost in a interdimensional portal inside her bedroom, and her parents had to like go into it. Tie the dad around, a rope around the dad and go in and get the kid. So that was pretty cool. I didn't know that till years later, but it's just I think everybody pretty much gets the gist of Poltergeist.
Oh yeah, it was number 3 on my list. Did it show up on anybody else's list?
It was number 2 on my list, I think.
Number 2 on your list, Brian. Go ahead.
But the bit that scared me first time the most was the television stuff. I mean, there is something kind of scary late at night when TVs are just, there's no channel in the days when they used to go off air, and it was just the static. And the thought that something could come out of the television or you could go into it was a particularly scary, chilling thought for me. So
yeah,
we did talk about this one already a couple times before, but no, I love this movie. It's a great flick for all the reasons Gary said and Brian said, and I last time we talked about it, I remember bringing up the Eddie Murphy bit because that was a hilarious bit with when he talks about, I got cable now and I've been watching a lot of movies. So I watched Amityville and I watched Poltergeist. And I just watching these movies and be like, there's black people in these movies. They wouldn't last long.
Directed, yeah. So
Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, baby. Look at this. We got this great house. Look at the view. Get out. Too bad we can't stay, though.
Directed by the great Toby Hooper as well.
Yes, yes. I think in Poltergeist, he goes, yeah, if that happened in my house, I'd be like, get the fuck out. Stop at the cop station and be like, yes, my daughter got ate by the TV. Yes, I just told you so you didn't think I killed the bitch or something like that. No, I tried to save her. I changed the channel and shit didn't work. So I got the fuck out.
There's so many terrifying scenes in this thing. You have the TV,
Yes.
you have
Yes.
the hand that comes out of the TV, you have the giant face, you have the vagina closet,
Clown.
and you have the graveyards like in the swimming pool, like with all the corpses, and it's just so many things are just absolutely chilling in it.
You
Well, and
moved
the
the
fact that it's
graves,
a little girl,
but you
right?
didn't move the bodies. Sorry, what'd you say?
I'd say the fact it's a little girl, right? There's something when children are involved, there's more agency in it. And one of the things, and this is a stretch, really made South Park so humorous for me. It was like it was third and fourth graders swearing like this. It was funny. What got me in this film was this little girl. She turns around, they're here, and you're just creepy. She nailed it. That entire thing.
Heather O'Rourke, she was amazing.
At that, she did a great job and just scared the crap. At that point, you're like, it goes back to that plausibility thing that we were talking about with Scribe. It's plausible to me that as a child, you have the ability to see into the other realm that adults don't. So it's plausible to me that she might be able to see something.
Well, and they do such a great job on the phone part because I think it's Spielberg either off camera or on the phone itself, and that toy camera. I can't remember how they did it. Gary might know, but she's like, "Hello, yes, I don't know, no." She's actually answering Steven's questions. He's just answering random questions. And I can't remember how they set it up, but like that's why it's so convincing, and he does such a great job with that. And he had the choice because I guess he did. And this is again going with the great debate: who directed this film? I think Toby Hooper did all the actual physical directing, but Steven Spielberg chose the cast, wrote the story, all that kind of business, because it came down between Heather O'Rourke and Drew Barrymore for both roles in E.T. and Poltergeist, and he had to decide which one was going to go where. And he had decided that he liked how Drew was more of the goofball, and he's like, that's going to go good with the boys and their kind of, their performance. And she really, the thing is she had this imagination where she thought that he knew that she would treat E.T. as a real thing. Heather, on the other hand, she had this angelic value about her, very soft spoken, and just this idea of how innocent she was. The ghosts would, take her. Right, would basically kidnap her. Like, so that was kind of the whole push and pull there. And, it's very much the same. Whatever it was that they did there with the shooting of it, because I know he was present for certain things, but every story I keep hearing always puts Toby still on the set. So whatever it was between them two, they had their deal. And it seems like we give a shit more about it than they did at the time. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Gary, but yeah.
Well, I think that Spielberg was jumping in and just directing. I really do. I think that Toby Hooper kind of got the shaft a little bit.
Well, he was kind of a director for hire, was what I mean.
When the Directors Guild steps in and says we have a problem here, that means that people are reporting that shit on set. So that's what happened. So yeah, but that's definitely my number one haunted house movie.
Yeah, I can see why. It's a great film. Great film.
Is it as good as the book though?
And you mentioned the score too, which is a great.
Yeah, see what you're doing.
There's no book.
That's it. That is the new running gag now and forever. MEAD is the book.
But is it on Netflix?
It beats flogging a dead sheep.
It's Korean.
It's not a Korean film, Tom.
Maybe on
Korean film.
I thought it was. The book is Korean.
The Pluk.
That's why I have
It's a Canadian book. So
Now, notice how
Canadian
none of us have brought up the fucking remake of that fucking piece of shit remake either.
There was a remake?
There's a
Yeah.
reason we
There's a
have
remake?
Yeah.
Poltergeist?
Yeah.
Okay,
Poltergeist.
now you've just ruined my night. So thank you.
That is
You didn't know
dumb as
about
making a
that?
sequel to Highlander.
No, honestly, I didn't.
That's
No.
right. It doesn't
Just
exist.
Gold
you're right.
Highlander.
It's just like that
here we
fruit
go.
film that doesn't
Show
exist.
us your
know.
books.
Please don't show. Yeah.
Here's your books.
Get your books out.
Both of them. And my number one is The Frighteners.
That's a good
Which I believe was on a couple other lists. I think that's
That was
where-
on mine. I know that.
That was last week with the other one.
That is
for
a
me.
fantastic film. It was a
Wait,
really,
Great
really
fucking
good film.
flick.
All right.
I love
I'm
the way
sorry.
it goes back
He
and forth
just
in time.
finished this and he wants to show y'all.
Here we go. What is it?
He just self-made his own predator mask.
Oh, it's a
Nice.
Predator.
He's still working on it.
Nice. That's cool.
Looks good.
Yeah, he just watched Prey last night, and he's like, so he's going to recreate.
Oh,
So
that's
we
cool.
have a legit Hollywood box on the show. So you
What the
know,
hell was that?
Sorry, that was me. Sorry.
I gotta make the top of the head a little taller and then add the skin.
it's a work in progress. He's
He's
getting
already
there.
a self-critic.
He's very proud of it.
Cool.
So yeah. Sorry,
That's
I didn't-
awesome.
he walked in with it on. I'm like, he's been working on
Oh,
that all
Papa.
afternoon. He's so proud of it. So
Awesome.
Cool.
So yeah, The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. We talked a little bit about this, I think, last week or the week before. So I'm going to let anybody else who had it on their list go ahead because I'm sure you guys got something to say about it.
I had it on mine. I had it at number 3, and just a great film. I like the CGI. I like the story behind it. Michael J. Fox was still pretty big in that time, and it was just a different film. Saw it in theaters, loved it to death. I think it's one of the best films of all time, not just in the horror genre. So, but Tom, this was your number 1. I'll let you run with it.
Was it on anybody else's list?
Not this week. Last week was on mine.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, no, like I said quite a bit about it last week, so I'll keep it brief here too. But no, it's a great fucking flick. Michael J. Fox was one of my favorites growing up, and this came out when I was a teenager, and it was a surprise.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. The trailers were kind of weird. The poster is odd, but after you see the film, you get it, and it's kind of a really cool poster. But no, like when I saw it, I was just like, wasn't sure what I was getting into, but it was a lot funnier than I thought it was. And then, like I said last week, once you find out in retrospect that it was actually meant to be one of the sequels to, or one of the Tales from the Crypt movies, it makes a lot more sense because you kind of see that in the movie. And I feel like it fits really well with Bordello Blood and Demon Knight. And yeah, no, it's a great film, especially for the Halloween season. It's rated R, but you could almost watch it with kids. It's not.
Yeah, I don't
because
know
of the
why it's
scary,
rated R.
violent. Well,
I mean, that's the thing. It was Michael J. Fox in a rated R film. That was the weird part of it.
At
that
scene
time.
in the hospital is a bit graphic.
That's true.
The shooting and stuff like that. Like it gets a bit overkill in that respect. So I can see that. There is some F words, I think, in there too.
And there is that sex scene with John Aston and the Mummy.
Yes, there is that weird sex.
Oh
scene.
yeah, there's that. Yeah.
I
Doing the
like
Bill
them when
Cosby
they
thing.
just lay there like that.
Didn't even have to give her pudding.
Well, the sex scene wasn't in the book. So
No, it wasn't. That was added just for the movie.
that was added later.
Actually, it's done kind of in a way to where it's funny.
There was
enough.
no
It's
bonking in the book.
And Jeffrey Combs, yeah, we didn't really bring up Jeffrey Combs last time, so that's where, man, he is amazing in this movie. Like, I love his character in the film. It's great. Yeah, I could see an argument be made, but there's some, because I keep asking myself that every time. I'm like, oh yeah, this is rated R. And then you see there's a couple F words and a bit graphic, but that was my number 1, and that was also my full list for those who were wondering, since mine had all the X's. Did you have those on here? I think you did. Yes. Okay, so let's go down them real quick. Baramable's list was The Closet, High Plains Drifter, The Others, Poltergeist, and The Haunting.
That's the 70s, dude.
Or 70s.
Oh, did I say Bramble? I did that again. Scribelight says The Others, Sixth Sense, Hellraiser, Event Horizon, and The Shinin. Toxic Man Flu says A Christmas Carol, Field of Dreams, The Frighteners, Ghost and Mr. Chicken, and The Haunting. And then that 70s rock fan says The black phone. Yes, I did it on purpose that time.
It's
The black
70
phone
rough, man.
I did.
Oculus is fabulous.
The black phone, Oculus, Shining, Amityville Horror, and 1408.
The guy who plays the dad in Oculus Valiant reminds me of you, looks wise.
Weird.
I was watching it earlier today, and I was like,
let me tell you what,
Renegade.
A great Katie Sackhoff movie.
Yes.
Number 5 was on Andy's list was Stir of Echoes, Ghost of Mrs. Mirror, number 3 House, 2 Poltergeist, and number 1 Ghost Story. And my list was as follows: Amityville, House 2, Poltergeist, Shining, and The Frighteners. So this is a mixed barrel of a list, guys. So and Gary's was on here too.
I can mess it up more and throw.
You messed up the order there on that one.
Yeah,
first time and only time you messed up on the order. So you can take it. Does that count as a drink?
Yes. Well, and you've just reread all the misspellings again. So at this point, everybody needs to down a fifth. Yeah.
And then Gary's top
on
5.
show then.
Yeah, right. The Sentinel, Watcher in the Woods, Ghost Story, Burnt Offerings, and Poltergeist. Thank you so much, guys, for being here.
Good suggestions on this list too.
Great stuff. And we got some super chats before we go. 6 sent us a little Sheba dog saying bravo. Eric K says, anyone see Topper with Cary Grant?
Yes.
Yes.
Love that film. Mm-hmm.
Big Cary Grant.
We have got a 1930s, 40s, 50s film fest that we have got to do somewhere in this fellowship.
Well, next week is open wide here, guys. So we're going to try and figure out what next week's going to be. It's going to be non-horror related.
I think it's best movies based on a book.
I know.
Based on a book.
Maybe.
It's
It might be
adaptations.
a book. Oh, I was going to offer the opposite since we've done nothing but horror movies for the last couple. How about we do family films next? But no, we'll see.
Can I throw, Tom, if you don't mind, can I throw 3 out? I won't do explanations. Sure. I will give these to people just to give a different opinion here. I love all the titles that everybody said here tonight were absolutely amazing. Some of my favorite films, and I'm a horror buff. So I decided while you guys were talking, let me draw from a different well, coming up with haunted house or building related movies, more modern flicks. Because look, this is one of the things where I love the more modern movies in many respects with the found footage films. Okay. Blair Witch gave me migraines, not that. But let me give everybody some suggestions to check out. A lot of these are on Amazon Prime. Hell House, LLC. That is a great newer film that I really love. Kind of found footage film, Hell House, LLC. The Houses October Built. I love that movie. I watch that throughout the year occasionally, and not just at Halloween. The Houses October Built. Great film. Lots of good scares. I mean, a lot of these are gory to terrifying. These are not psychologicals. These are just like straight up horror films. And finally, one of my all-time favorites. I don't care what anybody says. Grave Encounters, the first one. The first one.
Oh, okay.
So, I do enjoy those just to give everybody a little bit different flair. But I loved all the movies everybody named. They are all favorites of mine. They're all sitting on a physical media shelf. I think for the most part, 90% of them sitting on a physical media shelf in the other room. That's it.
Awesome. I haven't seen any of those 3, so I'll check them out.
No, I've not seen those. No.
I will definitely misspell them.
They're very simple ones, though, Toxic.
So is Mrs. Murray. And I've been spelling Brahmable for, 2 years now?
Yes.
So, yeah.
One of the coolest
Sad
ghost
story.
effects I've ever seen is Guillermo del Toro's The Devil's Backbone. If you check out the effect of this ghost kid in it, it's chilling.
The one of the reasons, like the house is October built, some of this is vanity, is that the final act of the movie does take place in Louisiana and New Orleans on Bourbon Street. I'll leave it there. So
nothing frightening or scary or to do with ghosts has ever happened in New Orleans, especially on Bourbon Street.
Nothing
at all.
Never. Nothing at St. Louis Cemetery near Maria Laveau's grave. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Anne Rice didn't write anything.
Yeah. Right. No. Been to parties at Anne Rice's house.
Ooh, I've heard. Yeah.
Best I could do is walk past it.
Her
I've never
son
been in it.
Chris.
Chris. Yeah.
Chris was a mutual friend of a lot of my friends we ran with. Chris was 1 year ahead of me in high school, different high schools, but I remember the weekend parties at Miss Ann's house. She was a hell of a lady, and what you saw when she did interviews, like when she was dressed in the 18th, 19th century garb, she was kind of like that in real life. That was not an act. That was Anne. That was Miss Anne.
That was her.
Yeah. And Chris was kind of like that. And the parties, let me tell you, the Halloween bit there was that was something. So lots of stories back in those days.
Yep. And you're still trying to find your soul. All right.
Yes, I am.
You know what? It's probably in one of Brian's books.
Probably
it might
is.
be in a book.
And it might be on Netflix because it's Korean. Eric K says, "What about Wonder Man with
Canadian
Danny Kaye?
Netflix.
Oh,
Canadian
okay.
Netflix.
North Korean
Koreans.
Netflix.
Good old Danny Kaye.
Wonder Man with Danny Kaye. That was funny. Danny Kaye did a couple of other films like that too. But there's a whole era of
Put the vessel in the pestle. Wasn't
You're
it?
right.
Vessel in
There's
the
a whole
vessel.
era of ghost films that they did in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Jason Webster says 1981, a good year for movies, evidently. An American Werewolf in London, The Howling, Entity, The Evil Dead, Halloween 2, Omen 3, The Final Conflict, and The Wolfen.
Yeah, that one was a good one.
Good one for horror films. I think we got Friday the 13th Part 2 that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, you could make them on a song, and everybody would go.
Was that 82?
And people would go see them. You could make money off of these films. That's why they're still there. They're still making them. They're still making them for about the same relative price. People are still going to see them. They're making money on these films. That's why they kept making them.
Indeed. So yeah, although this one was a muddy mess, we're gonna come up with something really good for next week. Don't worry, guys. The horror stuff is over with. I already have some ideas, so stay tuned for that. We're going to send you over to Cultures, but real quickly, we're going to head around the boards here so people can plug their wares. Scribe, let's start with you. Scribe Light, what you got going on?
I put a link to my channel in the chat a few minutes ago. I do a whole bunch of stuff on my channel that is unfortunately not movie related, which is why I love coming on here and talking about some other passions of mine. I do mostly social commentary and or current events stuff, but my regular series on Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, is TED Excellence, or I take a look at off-brand TED Talks for fun and enlightenment. Always a fun time, and that's my plug.
That's right, Six. The horror
Thank
stuff
you,
is
Six.
over. The slut stuff is about to begin.
No more horror stuff. Damn horror.
That's right. Anyway, we also have Brian here. What do you got going on?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about a book.
God damn it.
I'm gonna so overuse that you'll never do it again.
Is it a song book?
Songbook. Well, tomorrow my show, my cult comedy crew show tomorrow on my channel is about the Ruttles. The prefab for
Oh, I didn't know about that. coming up.
legend in their own lunchtime. We're going
I
to
haven't seen that in a few years.
We're going to do the history of the Ruttles. The
I got that
confluence.
record album.
Python meets SNL meets the Beatles, and so we're going to talk all about that, about the music and the All You Need Is Cash and some other stuff around them, because they like all mockumentaries, they kind of live beyond it. So, so that'll be fun.
It's a great one. That's going to be fun.
Cool.
Tom is
And Valiant Renegade.
I do YouTube.
Yeah.
Without a soul. It was stolen by Anne Rice.
No soul.
No soul.
In a
None.
book.
In a book.
It's stolen in a book.
Now, Valiant has a channel that a bunch of people watch, so check it out. And Andy, what you got going on?
Stuff and things.
Besides making me awesome Bat Tom dolls.
I will be on Rancor Steve's show. Manorama will be coming up. I think it's this week or next week. Is 1 year anniversary. I think it's next week. It's 1 year anniversary. We're going to be talking about crazy women. And Wednesday will be on Doomcock's show, where we're going to be talking about something and something. But we'll be there either way.
All right. Brahmable in black and white. What you got going on?
Yeah, my daughter decided to remote start her car right outside of the garage, so hopefully that's not coming through as background noise.
Hey,
No.
Yeah.
You're good.
You can catch me in just a few minutes on Culture Casino show,
Right.
and then I'm sure Tox will go over all the stuff with Comics Division. Me and 70s Rock Fan have a show every Saturday night where we talk hockey, and like to say R.I.P. to Adam Johnson from last night. So
Yeah, it was bad.
it was tragedy.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me on. It was another fun
Always.
show, even with all the stuff in the background going a little bit crazy.
Hey, you know what? We're getting there. I think we're getting along, moving along quickly. We're just about ready to start bringing in guests for special panels, so I think it's going to be great. Gary, what have you got going on? I know Wednesday you'll be on Pop Culture Breakdown, correct?
That's right. As Andy mentioned, you can find us on the Dictor Van Doomcock Show Pop Culture Breakdown. That'll be Wednesday nights. I got my own channel. The Wrenchers were nice enough to put a link in the chat. Check it out. Thanks for having me, guys. See you soon.
Always a pleasure to get to hang out with you, man. So, Tox, thanks again for all your help and hard work for the show. Thank you.
All my misspellings.
And all the other mods in the chat as well. But anything you got going on?
I am actually going to be writing a new book called Spelling with Toxic Man Flu. The phonetic way.
It's going to be 1 page.
Sleeping with
right.
toxic
AKA how to spell gooder?
Yeah.
200
Toxic
blank
Flu
pages.
Man. Yes.
Yeah.
I did learn how to read phonetically. I was one of the first ones in the U.S. they tried that on. I haven't been able to spell since.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
Yeah, that's right. No, it didn't. Comics Division tomorrow, Monday Meltdown, starting at 9 p.m. Central. And then Wednesday, 8 p.m. Rumble exclusive is the Yelling at Park Cars, where we talk about politics. Thursday Throwdown starts at 9 p.m. Central. So Culture's after this. Check it out. Culture always has a lot of fun. The intro, I think, is from last week is about to end, and then we'll start the new show. So always happens. But Tom, thanks so much.
Yeah,
we'll get all this stuff figured out. But I think it's I thought we did all right tonight. So
all right. And Six sends us one last minute super chat. Thank you again, Six. We should be here next week, I believe. Says, are you doing anything special on Halloween Mead show, Tom? Well, it depends on the news. If there's nothing like major going on, maybe we'll come up with some kind of Halloween themed show. So definitely keep that in mind. I'm not 100% sure yet. That will be on Halloween night. That is correct. And there is no Toxic Tuesday, so I was thinking we could even have a extra long Halloween party, or maybe I'll do like a Halloween mead or something like that. We'll figure out.
Combine
Mead
that
radio
with
and
Mead
guys gonna do a
radio. I was going to
Toxic
say,
Film?
combine that with the Mead radio stuff.
That's what I meant. I mean, I go do that instead. We'll see. I'll figure it out. I'll think about it. Talk to you guys about it in the background. And then she sends in one more and says, adding Tox to the group chat was my idea. Just saying, he's the best. Yes, he does all the hard work. He does all the hard work.
I love you.
But yes, as we head on out here, I'm going to play the intro again since I put so much damn work into it as always.
Do it. Make it lame. Put
Yeah.
a chick in it. Make it gay.
That's right.
Fucker.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
That's right.
Wait a second. Isn't it just every time you put Culture Casino into something, isn't that putting a chick into it?
Oh, God. Here he went there.
Yeah, put a chick in it, make her gay.
All right. Sorry.
All
Just-
right. No more Tom knows.
But that was gay.
That was a peacock in the middle of that NBC. That was-
Somebody's going to throw a dick on your face while you're sleeping.
Sean Estep, if he's watching, he's responsible for that. He released that on the world.
He did. Sean Estep, thank you, or Estep, however you say it. I got to thank him for that, because that's that one cut there with me singing off key to the music is why I laugh every time.
That's hilarious.
It's so bad.
All right, guys, here's the intro to take us out. Thanks again, kids. Oh, and don't forget to pick up Flip City Magazine. You get 10% off if you use the code MIDNIGHT. That's right. Flip City Magazine for all your funny stuff. And look at them zombies. Ew.
I have that subscription. That magazine's really good.
Use the code #chick, #lame, #gay.
No, use Midnight. Use Midnight.
Or use...
They're here.
Wow.